Oh, wrong button. What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video, and I did the wrong intro. No, I did the live stream about 5 days ago. I said I was going to try to do this at least once a week going forward. Not a lot of news today with the New York Giants. There was a bunch of small topics that I wanted to go over, so we'll talk about that. I pulled up some notes for you guys. Hopefully we get to do this. Like I said, I like to do the Giants Q&As at least once a week, get to talk New York Giants football with you guys. Obviously, right now we got baseball pretty much almost every night. So if I'm not streaming the Mets game, I'm watching it. So I figured I'd go live during the middays at least once a week, maybe even twice a week. I'll be live Friday with Bad Dog Talking Giants. That'll be on at night. But you guys said that you enjoyed the mid shows. I know the notifications don't always go out. It seemed like there was a screw up the first time I tried to set it up, so hopefully the notifications go out. But thank you to everybody for being here. We're going to go over some of the day's topics. We'll be live for about an hour and a half talking New York Giants football. I appreciate everybody for popping in. What's going on, Word? What's going on, Kaden? What's going on, Jawad? Revolution, Hakeem, Damian, BK in the house. I know Clocks is in here. JMG's in here. My man Luke's in here. Thank you to everybody for being here. I appreciate it, my man. Blue Collar, my man. What's going on, Jawad? Thank you to everybody for being here. Road Dog, Kim, my best subscribers on YouTube in the chat. New York Giants family. There's a couple things I want to go over. The first thing I want to talk about, that's why I put his name in the title, Joe Judge. I'm in love with this guy. I watched it. I'm sure a lot of you guys watched it. I saw it had like 2,000 views in the first 45 minutes. Joe Judge did a tour of the stadium today. And the protocols for the New York Giants, what they're going over to keep the team safe. And this guy is so organized. And that's all I've talked about the entire offseason is how I've been impressed with this guy's planning, his attention to detail, being that he's a special teams coach. A lot of people say, he crosses all his T's, dots all his I's. And when you see that video and you see all the planning that's gone into the offseason for the New York Giants to try to keep these guys as safe as possible so we could keep them on the football field, you really are impressed by it. Now, I can't pronounce his name, Josiah Tufufa, whatever his name is, the linebacker. He came down with a positive test for COVID today. He's a practice squad guy, so I didn't really expect him to make the roster to begin with. He's not going to be on the team as of now, but Sills came off of it. So David Sills was a wide receiver a lot of us were rooting for. From what I read, he came off of it. I'm also going to talk about the new cap situation for the New York Giants. We're going to get into that as well, not just the Giants, but the NFL in general. Something came out from Tom Pelissero today about that. So there's a lot of things I want to jump into today with the New York Giants. Also, Marcus Golden, of course, officially signed that contract. That shouldn't be news to any of us. I reported on that 3 or 4 days ago, that was going to happen. And today it became official. He signed the $5.1 million tender. So Golden will be playing for the New York Giants this year on a really good deal. So I think it is anyway. The question there becomes, is he going to cut into the playing time of some of the younger players? Guys like Lorenzo Carter. Is he going to cut into their playing time? So that's what you have to worry about there. But I do think Golden for that price is definitely worth the shot. Also, Andrew Thomas ranked in the top 25 at the tackle position per PFF before he steps on the field. I don't really care what PFF has to say. This is kind of just stuff I've talked about in the past that they've said about him. But some impressive numbers came off. I don't think he surrendered more than 2 pressures his entire NFL career, collegiate career, since 2017. And if there is any tackle in this year's class that's going to be ready day one at the left tackle spot, it is him. Jedrick Wills, a lot of people like, but he played the right tackle position. Tristan Wirfs, a lot of people don't even think is a tackle long-term. And Becton, a lot of people feel is a project. So I wasn't too surprised the good writing for Andrew Thomas. I believe they ranked him 22nd overall at the tackle spot. So that was nice to see, the nice write-up by PFF. We'll jump into that as well as a couple of other things. But I want to talk to you guys, answer some of your questions. Just wanted to bring up some of the topics of the day at the start of the show. What's going on, Mike Nixon, man? Thanks for popping in the stream. I see Jake's in here. When will the next Entertainment Talking Movies video come out? Or when? I wanted it to be today, Woods. I don't know if I'm able to do it. The Mets schedule is tight. They play every night. Sunday's their next day game. I was going to do it last Sunday, but then I was going on Kid Blues channel, so I couldn't do it. So I'm hoping this, at the latest, this Sunday will be the next movie stream. At the absolute latest. I was hoping today, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to squeeze it in. I got to get in touch with Greg. Marcus Golden, $5.1 million deal. We're going to get into all the specifics. What's going on, Road Dogg? What's going on, Jared Williams? Thanks for popping in. So, yeah, these are the notes for the day, guys. First thing is this. This was talking about Andrew Thomas. Yeah, that's right. A rookie cracked the top 25. He has yet to play a snap in the league. But what we saw from Thomas at Georgia makes us confident in projecting him in the NFL. This is PFF talking about him. Thomas played against some of the best competition in the country and earned a remarkable 92.7 PFF grade 19, time for the best we ever had for an SEC tackle. And then they went on to say that he went up against the best competition in the league. The next headline we're going to talk about is the Golden signing. Like I said, really shouldn't be any major news. Giants outside linebacker Marcus Golden has officially signed his 1-year, roughly $5.1 million contract, a source said, with the tender. His salary was set, as was his eventual destination. After 10 sacks in 2019, he's back with the Giants, another prove-it deal. And then this was kind of the interesting news of the day. And, how could the New York Giants use this potential salary cap space? We already knew about Nate Solder. It was going to be 9.9. Well, now it's going to be more, not just with the Giants, but anybody that's opted out. NFL teams are about to gain tens of millions of dollars in cap space. The Management Council informed clubs that signing bonus proration, not just unearned salary and bonuses, will be removed from the 2020 cap immediately upon notification of players opting out per sources. Then he went into further detail. For example, the Broncos tackle Juwan James opted out yesterday. Not only does his $10 million salary come off the books for 2020, so does the $3 million prorated portion of his signing bonus for a total of $13 million in cap relief. And from what I understand, from what I was able to gather, at least on Twitter, that remains to be seen.
Welcome to the entertainment Talking Sports.
Based on that news. Kyle, man, thanks so much for loving. I really appreciate it. What's up, Jersey Life? What up? I really love Judge from all the Oh, God. Joe Judge is the man. He's ready to go. He's prepared. I'm excited about him. Yeah, I am a big Joe Judge fan. I have been from the start, and you really do see the hard work he puts in preparation and organization and everything else, so it was impressive for sure. Jared Williams says, WTF. WTF to you, my man. Thank you for popping into the stream. You can hear the intro. Oh, my bad. I don't know what happened with that. Well, that was a mess up. So, can you still hear it, or is it good now? Can you still hear it, or is it good? Should be better now. The intro just played. Well, I apologize for that. Chris, can you give us a taste of the New York Giant intro? Clocks, the thing is, it's going to come in very chopped up because it's on OBS while I'm live streaming. And I don't even know if I have it here. I do. Hold on. Yeah, I can give you guys a preview. It's gonna come in choppy though, but I could give you guys a preview to the intro. Hold on. Like I said, it's gonna come in choppy because I tried this yesterday during my member stream. But yeah, I'll play it for you guys. Hold on. Let me get the display capture. Here's the new intro for anybody that's interested. I was working on this. I took everybody's suggestions, and it's going to come in choppy, like I said, though. But this is the new intro, Clogs. If I could get it to fit the screen properly. This is just a rough estimate, but here you go. Here's the intro. I was not expecting to do this, so I apologize. Here you go. Did you see? Yeah, I saw Judge's Tour. So there's the intro, guys. I don't know if you got to see it, but there's the new intro. I heard the intro when you were talking. Oh, you heard the intro when I was talking? Did you see? Yeah, I saw Judge's tour of the facility. Good stuff, man. Like I said, man, from the start, man, he's going to be organized. He's a guy that pays attention to detail. I watched that video. I had to comment. I was very impressed with Judge, and it gives me some confidence that these players hopefully could remain healthy. Yeah, Jawad, I'm liking it. I appreciate that, Edward Chan, man. Thanks for popping in the stream. I love these midday streams. Well, Meat, man, I appreciate you for being here, man. I appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you guys for being the best supporters on YouTube. What's going on, Isaiah? What's going on, Noah Love? Thanks for popping in the stream. Yes, sir, that intro. Yeah, man, I took, what's up, yeah, man? Thanks for being here, buddy. I took everybody's suggestions. Everybody's like, I want the entertainer talking sports at the end of it. I don't want to lose the old intro. So I got Slurpee, who helped me with the intros. He does a great job. He was able to pair the two, so hopefully you guys enjoy that. It won't be as choppy when I do the videos. Is Gates the center? Is Gates the center? No. I mean, right now we don't know what Gates is. I think Gates has got a good opportunity to start. I don't know if it'll be at the right tackle or the center position. I'm leaning right tackle. I would be much I think it's much safer to have him at the right tackle. It's a position he's played before. He's never played the center position, but he's certainly going to compete for both. I've gone on record as saying that I think Gates is best suited off the bench because he's kind of like a jack of all trades. He could step in if somebody gets hurt, if somebody's not playing well, he could play all 5 spots. So I'm completely for Nick Gates coming off the bench, but the fact that he got that contract extension, good chance he's going to be your starting right tackle, if not your center. But he's got an opportunity to play both this year. Blue Collar, man, thanks so much for that, man. He says, thank you for the work you do. How many players in the NFC East have opted out? Yeah, that's another thing, by the way. One of my subscribers yesterday in my community notes gave me a great suggestion. I'm going to start doing it every Saturday or Sunday. They want me to do an NFC East roundup to talk about the news for the week for the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Giants, and the Skins, or the football team, as they're now called. So I will do that. But in terms of the how many players, nobody of significance has opted out from any of the teams recently. The big news in the division is the coach. Peterson came down with the COVID. So that's the big news in the NFC East outside of the New York Giants. But the good news is for the Eagles is they kind of have stability there. They already they have the same coaching staff. It's not a new coaching staff. It's something they should be able to overcome with a veteran team. Also, you said baseball's back, but is it true for a Mets fan? No, not well. At least they won last night, but we're still 4-7. Got to try to find a way to win these next 2 games to get close to 500 against the Nationals. That intro, yeah, appreciate everybody being here. Wow, no high, up. He said it 6 times. I apologize. Everybody in the chat, Bobby needs his highs. Bobby needs his highs. If you haven't done so, please say hello to Bobby. Please say hola to Bobby. Bobby, thank you so much for tuning into the stream. We all love you. We all appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Let's see what we got here. The intro is so cool. I appreciate that, Brendan Hughes. Chris, will Nick Gates' extension, what does this mean for Shane Lemieux? I don't think it means much for Shane Lemieux. I mean, Shane Lemieux's on a rookie deal. He's a 5th-round pick. He's not getting paid a lot. I think Lemieux's a depth player this year, unless he can win out the center spot. But with no preseason games, I don't expect it. I never thought Lemieux was going to start this season. He's a guy that could step in and maybe be the starter if you decide to move on in the future from Zeitler, in 2 years or so. I don't think he's going to be a starter this year. Maybe he's a starter next year. Maybe you move him over to that center spot. But I don't expect it. I never expected him to start this year. I know a lot of Giants fans are rooting for him. But I don't think it means anything for Lemieux. I think he remains as a guy off the bench that could step in if there's an injury and a guy that you continue to try to develop, being that he's a 5th-round pick. But I still love the Lemieux pick. Let's see what we got here. There will be at least a top 15 by the end of the year. You're talking about the Giants as a whole? You're talking about a unit? The offensive line, I think, could be around league average by the end of the year. I don't know if it'll finish at league average because I could see them struggling early on with the schedule that we got to play early on, and with the shortened offseason. You got a rookie left tackle. But I think by the second half of the year, I could expect them to be a league average offensive line if that's what you're talking about. Super Bowl in 5 years, what do you think? Also, I love your vids. I really appreciate that, King Shrimp. I always forget to drink my coffee, by the way. Do I think the Giants can win a Super Bowl in 5 years? Yeah. Could they? Sure. There's no way of knowing how this team's going to progress. It's going to come down to Joe Judge, and it's going to come down to Daniel Jones. I think by 2022, I think we may, if things break right, have the type of team that can compete and try to advance in the playoffs. Maybe even by next year, if things go right. I do think they need to accelerate the process after this year. I've talked about that because you got Daniel Jones on the last 2 years of his rookie contract coming up. So after this year. So I do think they'll need to accelerate the process and try to win a Super Bowl while Daniel Jones is under that cost-effective deal. So I do think next year they're going to go out there and try to bring in some impact players. I'd be surprised if they don't. I love the coffee too, man. Andrew Thomas could be top 15. Yeah, I think Andrew Thomas is going to be one of the best left tackles in the sport. I'm not going to put those expectations on him year one, but I do think he's going to be one of the best left tackles in the sport. I have very little doubt in that. I think it was a really good pick, a really safe pick by the Giants, and I'm excited to see him out there on Sundays. And I appreciate that, Jesse Bryan. What's going on, what you say? What's going on, my man? Hey, Tana, what kind of coffee do you drink? What kind of coffee do I drink? I actually drink the K-Cups, Keurig. I'm drinking Folgers, I believe, today. I don't even remember, but I go with the K-Cups. They're a little more money, but it's efficient. It's 1 cup at a time. There's my first coffee question, which I'm surprised. I'm always drinking coffee during my live streams. If we get a premier pass rusher, we are a playoff team. Maybe. I mean, a premier pass rusher could make that much of a difference. When you say premier, you're talking top 3, top 4, top 5 in the league. Yeah, possibly, for sure, especially in the division that we play in. But that's a big piece, and that's not easy to find. And we don't have it right now. But maybe. I mean, the offensive line, though, has to get better, and Daniel Jones has to progress. We still have question marks, but we've got a lot of hope, for sure, with the way that Jones played in his rookie year, and the fact that we expect Saquon Barkley to be healthy after this season. So I'm excited for this year, but, we'll see. I got K-Cups, too. Yeah, K-Cups are great. Which Giants rookie will be the highest paid in 2020? It goes, obviously, by where you're drafted. Andrew Thomas is the highest paid rookie for the Giants, and I think he's making... I think it's about 5.7, 5.8. There's a rookie scale. It goes by where you were drafted. James, he says, I think Jabril gets any time. Do I think Jabril gets any time on the offense? He might get some time in terms of punt returns. I don't think he's going to get any time with the offense. No, I'd be shocked. But he may field punt returns. Of course, he's known for that. So I wouldn't be surprised with that. And it'll be interesting to see what he does because we have a lot of guys who could be returning kicks this year. I'm excited for football. I'm hoping we get it. Now the players are at the facilities. You're starting to get amped up. I'm still waiting on, major news. That's why I didn't make a video today. I'm like, there's not much to talk about. There was nothing to talk about yesterday. I was like, I'll talk about a couple of small topics, go live, field some questions from you guys. So I appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you guys for all the love and support you guys always show me. Chris Sonor is in the house. What's going on, senorita? What's going on, Afghanistan? And hit that like button if you haven't done so. Please subscribe, ring the bell. I appreciate all the love and support you guys always show me. Do we start Holmes this year or do we sign Logan Ryan? I'm leaning that we're going to go with Holmes. I don't see us bringing in Logan Ryan personally. I could be wrong. That's just my honest opinion. I don't think we're going to go out there and bring in a big free agent at this point in time. I'm leaning that they will go with Darnay Holmes. Darnay Holmes, I think, is going to get some time. I think he's one of the 3 rookies that I expect to see get some time this year starting. And if not starting, definitely getting significant snaps with the New York Giants. I like Holmes. He might be my favorite rookie that we drafted when you factor in value in his work ethic and his intelligence and his upside with his athletic ability. I'm excited for Holmes. I think Holmes is going to be a starting slot corner for the Giants for not just this year, for a while. Grim, man, thanks so much for the love, man. I appreciate it. He says, of the UFA undrafted free agent wide receivers, who do you think has the best chance to make the roster? I think it's Benjamin Victor. I've gotten asked that question a lot. I think it's Benjamin Victor. But there's a couple of interesting guys, though. They brought in, I forgot the guy's name off the top of my head, Tony something. It's escaping me. But when I did the research on him, I did a video of him a couple of days ago. Seems like an interesting prospect. The Browns let him go, I think, due in large part to the fact that they have a lot of good receivers, and they had to get the roster down to 80. Tony Brown, I think it was. And I think Tony Brown may be able to compete. Obviously, you've got Reese and John. I don't expect him. He's a project. Sills is a guy to keep an eye on. Now that he's recovered from the COVID, I do think Sills, this is his second year on the practice squad. He's a tall threat. The guy, I think, had 33 or 35 touchdowns over his last 2 years at West Virginia. I do think he's a guy that could compete to maybe crack the roster. There's an interesting name. But we'll see. I do think 2 of them have an opportunity because if the Giants go with 7 wide receivers, you look at their roster right now. We know the top 3. Yeah, obviously, right? I'm not even going to go over those guys. Then you got Cody Core, and then you got Corey Coleman. But after that, if you're going with 7, there's a good chance 2 of these undrafted free agents could make the team. Definitely 1 will. I think 2 have an opportunity. So we'll see. Derek Dillon obviously has speed as well, so he's a guy to keep an eye on. But that'll be one of the big storylines going into camp. Entertainer, do you think that some of the players we cut will make the practice squad? Yeah, of course. They actually have an expanded practice squad. I think normally it's 10 players, Mike. And this year, because of everything that's going on, it's 16. I think it's an expanded practice squad this year for the Giants. So yeah, more guys will get an opportunity this year actually on the practice squad, and I'm sure more guys from the practice squad will be getting called up if players start getting sick. Hopefully that's not the case. And Gokwon, thank you for the turtles. I always appreciate that. Chris, which team do you think had the worst offseason? Well, I'll tell you what, man. They had a very good offseason, but so far in terms of the opting out in the COVID, the Jets have had a lot of bad luck. That was the first thing that popped in my head because obviously C.J. Mosley opted out, or they traded away Jamal Adams. So for the win now approach for New York Jets fans since the drafted free agency, it's been bad. They've gone from a team that probably Jets fans thought going into the season was a 7 or 8 win team to now, I think, being in competition for being a 4-win team. Like, they lost their 2 best players on defense, so not a good offseason so far for the New York Jets since the drafted free agency. But I think they had a good drafted free agency period. I'm not trying to bash them. But that was the first team that came out to me in terms of, I guess, bad luck when I read that question. The Pats, yeah, the Pats lost a ton. Pats lost a ton as well. Good call there. Is that? Yes, it is. That's the FDNY Knicks hat, yes. Packers had a horrible draft. Well, it's hard to say that they had a horrible draft. They had a horrible draft for this year's team. You know, who knows what happens with Love down the stretch. A lot of people probably felt like they shouldn't have drafted a quarterback because they've got Aaron Rodgers. But if Love turns out to be a great quarterback, it was a good pick. And they obviously reached on Dillon, the running back. So, yeah, and the other thing, the Packers, what's the name of the receiver they added? He's from the Colts. They added that receiver that was from the Colts, the tall guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's like 6'3", 6'4". Thought he was going to be a real... Funchess, I think, right? Thought he was going to be a really good red zone target for Aaron Rodgers. He opted out. So, the Packers are another one. That's a good call, too, with the Green Bay Packers. I agree. The Jets defense lost its 2 leaders. Alvaros and Lestat just brought out the Dolphins. I appreciate that. I'm back, but guarantee my boss will now call. I just want to log off and listen to NFL talk with you guys. Well, Dominic, I appreciate you for being here, my man. Thank you to everybody for being here. Any power outages yet, Chris? None yet, Waterfly. I didn't even think about that. I'm streaming the Met game tonight. I didn't even think about that. Obviously, the game, I think, is going to go, because I looked at the weather report. They're not playing here. They're playing in Washington. It looks like it's going to be clear, but the power could go out here. I didn't even think about that, so hopefully not. But nothing yet, no. Funchess, yeah. Chris, would you rather have Clowney or Logan Ryan? Logan Ryan. I'd rather have Logan Ryan, personally. I think we need more help right now in the secondary. We don't really have a second exterior corner right now. Logan Ryan may not be that guy, but it would give you more freedom to move around players. And I think Clowney would cost more. I think Logan Ryan just makes more sense. I think he fits our budget more. I don't see us bringing in Clowney. I think the Giants, like I've talked about numerous times, I think they're going to go by a pass rusher by committee approach. I don't expect to see them bring in an elite edge rusher. I just don't. The Meat Church, man, thank you so much for the love, man. More likely Giants winning 10 or Biden winning. Oh, man. I don't get into politics on my channel. I'm going to be honest, and I'm not going to get into politics, but you did donate. I'm going to answer your question. I think it's more likely that Joe Biden wins the presidency than the Giants win 10 games. But we'll see. We'll see. Joe's got to stay awake, though, for the debates. But thank you to everybody for being here. I appreciate it. Do you think that Yannick will come? No, I don't. I think if Yannick gets traded, I think it's going to be to a win now team. Maybe next year in free agency if he's not traded. But no, I don't expect him to be a New York Giant this year. Would you trade for Judon? Well, people have talked about Matthew Judon in the past as a potential sign and trade candidate with the Baltimore Ravens. And I remember doing videos on that as the season was getting going. I don't think Baltimore's going to trade him. I really don't. Baltimore's a team that's trying to win a Super Bowl this year. I don't see it. I know there's been rumors about it. I honestly don't see it. I don't think that they're going to trade him. The lights just flashed. Hopefully we don't lose power now. Giants winning 8 or Mets winning 30, he says. That's a good question. Let me answer that in a week. But the Mets schedule was really tough to start out. I do think they're going to rebound a bit. I still think they get close to right around 30 wins, but I'm also being optimistic as a Mets fan, so we'll see. I'm not going to get my hopes up. Love the video the Giants posted with Judge giving the tour of the... Oh, God, Donovan, yeah, I talked about that at the top of the stream. Every time I see Joe Judge, I get more and more impressed. I really do. I love Joe Judge. The guy is clearly... very well prepared, and he's definitely going to bring that to the New York Giants. Something that we know as Giants fans, Pat Shurmur did not bring to the table. He had people falling asleep in meetings. I don't expect that this year. The Undertaker, Chris Gonzalez, says, yeah. See, what dark horse team do you think is the most overrated? My God, what is with this light? I might have to get the light fixed. Dark horse team is I've talked about that in the past, the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are overrated, and I think they're viewed as a dark horse team that a lot of people have going to the playoffs. And it has as much to do with their schedule and their division as anything else. I'm not a big believer in the Cardinals this year as much as most people are, so I'll go with the Cardinals. But are you going to do the Reddit thing, or is it just not for you, Rogue Dog? I'm actually in a Reddit. I'm going to tell you a story about Reddit, Rogue Dog. But I'm actually in a Reddit Discord, the Giants Reddit Discord. When I first started on YouTube, I posted on Reddit because I read that you're supposed to post your videos on Reddit, and it'll help you grow. So I posted on Reddit, and I remember when I posted my videos, the comments I got back, people were complete douchebags. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm going to be completely frank. And I said, I'm done with Reddit. I don't need that. And so I said I'm going to stick to YouTube, and you get a lot of mean people, at least from my experience. And maybe it was because I was starting out. Maybe it would be different now, but that's why I have not ventured with Reddit in recent times. But I am in a Discord with Giants Reddit. And New York for Life, man, thanks so much for love, man. I appreciate it. He says, blink twice if you're being held against your will. New York for Life, what's going on, my man? Thank you for popping in the stream, my man. Mets have actually been doing, but I might have just been really bad because I was just starting out. Reddit is good for sending funny memes, Jawad says. Mets have actually been doing well hitting wise. They just need to get runner. Well, yeah, with runners in scoring position, they've been absolutely horrible. They've been atrocious with runners in scoring position. Will Lemieux start on our line this year? No. I mean, he could, but I don't expect it. I'd be surprised if he does. Anything's possible, and particularly if we have injuries. I don't think he's going to win the job out of the gate. I'd be shocked with no preseason games. I don't think Lemieux is going to be your starting center. But, of course, if there's an injury, he might be able to step in at guard or center. But I don't think he's going to be a starter for sure to start the year. Maybe at some point. But, people always talk about development, and I get it. We want our young players to develop, guys like Matt Parrott, guys like Shane Lemieux. But by the same token, you can't be messing around with the offensive line. You got a second-year quarterback with a new system. You have to make sure he's as safe as possible back there. So it's a double-edged sword, I don't think Lemieux will start this year, though. Independent, man, thanks so much for love. I appreciate it. He says, be careful, steer clear of the trees. Long Island Storm. Yeah, trust me, I know. When I used to work for Optimum as a cable technician, and I started right when the Sandy hit. And, yeah, it was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. We had to redo everybody's house, but, yeah, there were fallen trees and everything. So, yeah, make sure you're safe out there, guys. Benjamin, thanks so much for love. He says, how's your first day at the new job? It was only 2 hours. I appreciate you for that. No, it was only 2. It was training today. So, yeah, it was just 2-hour training. But I appreciate you for asking, man. Only thing that could take away number 28 from the Yanks is Rona. They're definitely, them and the Dodgers, Alan. Them and the Dodgers are definitely the two favorites this year. The only thing you got to worry about if you're a Yankee fan is, I think, the first round. I think the fact that there's a 2 out of 3 first round is definitely not beneficial to teams like the Yankees and the Dodgers. Because anybody could lose a 2 out of 3 series in baseball. No matter how good you are. The Yankees could lose to the Orioles in a 2 out of 3. The Yankees could lose to the Mets in a 2 out of 3. So that's the one thing that I think is definitely a detriment to the Yankees and the Dodgers. But I agree that they're the 2 best teams. I don't even think it's a debate right now. Let's see what we got here. When you say that these rookie... Did the stream stop, guys? Let me see. Let me click it again. Looks like it's circling. Did my internet go out? I can't tell. It still says I'm live here. I probably should have left the chat on. Let me turn my Wi-Fi on. Probably should have left the chat on. Still says I'm live here. One second, guys. 1 second. I'm just trying to... I can't tell. Skip ads. Okay. Tap to retry. Okay, I think we're good now. Okay, I just want to make sure the chat went out for a second. I'm good now. I got it back. I'm worried about this storm, guys. Rock and Rob, man, thanks so much for love. He says, do you think Barkley will have a lot less negative no-gain rushes than he had in 2018 and 19? 9 out of 10 rushes were strikeouts and 1 is a home run. I mean, that to me is the biggest concern with Saquon Barkley. Is just that. And that's what people point to all the time when they compare him to Barry Sanders. And hopefully that's not the case. But yeah, it's something that I definitely want to see improved. And the thing that I think will help that is what I've talked about in videos in the past, and that is the fullback, the lead blocker. Last year, the New York Giants only used Penny 11% of the time. I expect them to use Penny a lot more this year, and that should help. Barkley not have so many negative plays, but by the same token, Barkley has to know when he can't bounce it outside. You have to know as a running back, you have to mature and know when to take that yard or 2 yards rather than take a 2 or 3 yard loss to try to make something out of nothing. So that's something he's got to improve on. But I do think with a lead blocker, I think that they're going to use the fullback a lot more and an improved offensive line. I also expect to see more 2 tight end sets. You saw the Giants invest in that with guys like Toyolo, with guys like Kaden Smith. I do think they're going to put a bigger emphasis on blocking, and I don't expect to see so many negative plays. Not to mention he was banged up last year. MVP, thanks so much for love. I appreciate it. Yo, Chris, with a hat with a brim. MVP wanted me to get the Yankees hat with no brim. That's never going to happen, MVP. That will never happen. I promise you, my man. But thank you for being here, my man. I appreciate it. And Meat, man, thanks for the cannolis. I appreciate it. Thoughts on Kaden Smith, Bavit says, or Bavith. But I'm going to continue to mispronounce it because that's what you tell me to do. Kaden Smith, I think, is going to do great for the Giants. I think he's kind of like a lot of the tight ends we've had in the past. Guys like Boss, guys like Ballard. He could block. He's a good receiver. I like Kaden Smith. I think Kaden Smith's part of the long-term answer for the Giants. I don't think Evan Engram is, and I hope I'm wrong. I like Evan Engram. I don't know if he's going to be in the long-term plans. He's going to cost a lot of money, and he's injury-prone. Let's see if he can stay healthy this year, but I'm a big fan of Kaden Smith. I think if Engram goes down, Kaden Smith could step in and play fine, and he had good chemistry with Jones. Who is your favorite Giants offensive lineman of all time? Independent says. What is going on there, Hazelnut? He says, handsome shirt there, Chris. Hey, ladies. What's going on, Hazelnut? And thank you for the love, Independent. I appreciate that. My favorite Giants offensive line. All right, well, my favorite Giants unit of all time is the 2008 offensive line. I'm not even talking about the Super Bowl year, the year after. They were so dominant. They were beating up on everybody. So as a unit, the 08 unit just pummeled everybody. You knew what we were going to do, and we just beat you up anyway. So that 2008 offensive line as a whole is my favorite. If I had to pick one, I'd probably go with O'Hara. I might go with Deal. I'd probably go with O'Hara. Sneeze up there as well. But that entire unit was phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? But I'm hoping Andrew Thomas is going to be. But thank you to everybody for being here. No, I'm not going to pronounce it like that, Bavith. And no, it's not Flowers, Chris Gonzalez. I saw you type Flowers in the chat. It's not Flowers. It's not Flowers. I'm tired of Sterling Shepard. He's a good guy, but he does not produce. Sterling Shepard produces when he's on the field. Problem is he can't stay on the field. The guy's had so many concussions. The guy can't stay healthy. That's the problem. What's going on, Justin, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. Engram healthy is a beast, but that is a big if. That's the thing. He's never healthy. He's missed the season's worth of game in 3 years. That's a lot. 14 games in 3 years. But yeah, when he's on the field, he's a beast in terms of receiving. He's still not a very good blocker, even though he's improved that part of his game a bit. But stand up. What's going on? What's going on, Cole? Sean Grimes is in here too. Another great subscriber of mine. I appreciate everybody for being here. It's definitely it's not Flowers. It's not Pugh. It's not Richburg. It's not those guys. It's not those guys. What's up, Chris Leon, man? Thanks for being here, my man. But anybody that may be popping in, I just wanted to, the headlines for today. I was gonna make a video, but I was like, there's nothing of significance. I said I'd rather go live, talk to you guys, do a Q&A. Haven't been able to do so many of these because of the baseball. So I'm trying to do at least one, if not two of these a week, midday, especially as the season starts to get into the fold. But I talked briefly about the salary cap and how the cap, now basically that Solder contract, instead of getting 9.9, I believe we have $16 million in cap relief. But I still went on to talk about how I believe that the New York Giants will use that money for next year's cap. I don't believe they're going to spend a lot of it. Also, Marcus Golden officially signed the 5.1. We all knew about that, but I just wanted to make note of that. Ian Rappaport came out with a tweet about that today. He was at camp and he officially signed it. And Andrew Thomas is ranked in the top 25. I believe he's 22nd overall on PFF's list for the best tackles in the NFL. Take that for what you will. It went on to say that he has not surrendered 2 pressures in a single game since 2017. But I think Solder is the most NFL-ready left tackle. Maybe not the most NFL-ready tackle. Some people may say Wills, but I think definitely the most NFL-ready left tackle. And I think he's the most ready tackle, period. And I can't wait to see him out there. And he's definitely going to have some pressure playing on the left side to start out. Tana got to be careful. He doesn't bring up the point. Chris, who is your favorite Giants player on offense and defense? Saquon Barkley on offense. That's easy. Not even close. On defense, Can I take a wait-and-see approach? We have a lot of unproven players, but if I had to pick one right now, I'd probably say Dalvin Tomlinson. I thought Dalvin Tomlinson was very underrated for the Giants last year. Yeah, I think he's a little bit underappreciated. So I'll say Dalvin. I just don't know if Dalvin's going to be in the long-term plans. But I would say either probably Dalvin Tomlinson, if not him, Peppers, or Dexter Lawrence. Those three probably right now in my top three. But I do like Lorenzo Carter. I think he could bounce back this year. I like a number of the players on the defense, but they all got a lot of upside. Offense is definitely Barkley. What's up, Tim Jim? Thanks for popping in the stream. Mr. Mini Guy. Yeah, I'm doing the midday streams because I do baseball at night. So I'm trying to do a giant midday stream. I did one last week. People seem to enjoy it. So I said I would do this more often, once a week, whenever I can. There wasn't a ton of news today, and I didn't make a video yesterday because there was nothing to report. So I said I'll just go over the news today. I'll go live. I'll talk about it and hang out with you guys as I'm kind of waiting for, news. And when there is news, you're going to have a ton of videos, but nothing of significance. It's kind of, just recycled stuff right now. What's up, Bradley? He says, can you rank the top 4 tackles in the draft? Don't be biased. Andrew Thomas and Wills are 1 and 2. I think I'd have Wirfs 3 and Becton 4. That's what I wanted. I wanted Thomas or Wills at our pick. I would have been happy with either one, and I would have been happy with Wirfs as well. But I would say Becton 4. But Becton might have the most upside, but he's definitely probably the lowest floor. So I would go a tie. Thomas and Wills is so close. Then I would have Wirfs, and then I would have Becton at 4. Clock says, Chris, hypothetical, Brady Wilson and 10 other top-tier players opt out. Does the NFL go on this year? Yes. The NFL is going to try to go on. Odell Beckham came out, and to be fair to Beckham, those quotes were 2 weeks old, but he came out and said that the NFL shouldn't play, and I just thought that was hypocritical because then, he has the option not to play, and he decided not to. But I do think they're going to try to play regardless of who opts out. It's tons of money. People are still going to watch. People that gamble on the games like yourself, people that play fantasy football, people are still going to watch the games. It's a distraction. People want to get away from it. And people don't turn down billions of dollars if it's there for them. So I do think the NFL is going to try to play no matter what if they can. I don't know if they're going to be able to. We'll see. But, yeah, they're going to make every effort they can to play this season. Non-football related, but how's life being a 4'9"? I'm not a 4'9" midget, Pavith. I'm actually almost 5'11". We've been over this. Love the shirt. I appreciate that, Bradley. Is Quincy Enunwa free agent? He is, but I don't see the Giants bringing him in. I knew on Twitter as soon as that happened, everybody was going to say, the Giants got to rush to pick up Quincy Enunwa, and I like Quincy Enunwa. Guy had I think it was a spinal injury, and here's the thing. If Quincy Enunwa could still play, or if he wasn't a huge health concern, do you honestly think the Jets would have released him? Look at the New York Jets roster right now. New York Jets, that's their biggest hole right now. They don't have a supreme wide receiver. Perriman's their best receiver right now. So if he could still play, he'd still be on the team. There's a reason that they dropped him. I don't see the Giants going out there and bringing him in. Just my humble opinion. So could we get it? I don't think we're bringing in Enunwa. If he's healthy, sure, but I don't think the Jets would have dropped him if they felt he was healthy. Let's see what we got here. Chris, who will have a better season, Matt Pat or Shane Lemieux? Ideally, neither one plays. Ideally, they both sit on the bench and they learn this year. The Giants have the depth at those positions where they shouldn't have to start. Ideally, neither one plays. If you ask me who's more likely to see playing time this year, because Nate Solder opted out, I would say Matt Parrott is more likely. Both have a possibility to see the field, but I probably prefer them both to learn this year and sit out, and we don't have injuries to that offensive line. Synagogue of Steak, man, thank you so much for love, man. He says, more likely, Giants 12 wins or you become a Yankee fan. Oh, man. Giants 12 wins. And, I know there's a lot of Yankee fans in here. No disrespect to the Yankees. You guys are a class organization. You guys got 27 World Series, headed for 28. I'm never leaving the New York Mets. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I'm too invested in that team. My family's grown up as diehard New York Met fans my entire life. I love the New York Mets. That's never going to change. So, and I've gone through too much torture for me to leave the New York Mets. So I'm going to be a Met fan till the day I die. But I appreciate the love, Synagogue. Thank you so much for being here, man. I hate the fact that Barkley is Penn State alum, but great player and great. Oh, Barkley's the friggin' man. Barkley's the friggin' man. Aaron Judge right now is the MVP. Aaron Judge is the MVP of Major League Baseball right now. Do you think Andrew Thomas and Matt Barrett can be a top 10 tackle duo in the future? Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think they could be as soon as next year if Andrew Thomas is as good as I hope he is. I don't know if Parrott's going to be a starter. I'm not going to bank on that yet. He was the 99th overall pick, but I think Andrew Thomas is going to be a very good tackle, and I think Parrott has the potential to be. But I'm not going to jump the gun until we see him on the field. We see him mature. We see him get better. Andrew Thomas, I have expectations for him to be one of the better tackles in the sport by next year. His second season, I think he'll be one of the better tackles. Parrott, we'll see. He's still a developmental piece that has a lot of upside. Let's see. Who from the Giants you think will have a breakout year, Chris Leone says. Number of guys on the defense. Number of guys on the defense could have a breakout year. I could name 7 guys. So, on the offense, I'll say Daniel Jones is the obvious candidate and Darius Slayton. Maybe Hernandez as well. But on the defense, it's literally their entire defense. They're all young. They're all unproven. It's literally every player on their defense, other than maybe Dalvin Tomlinson. I think we know what he is at this point. So, on the offense, I'll go with Daniel Jones or Slayton or maybe Hernandez at the guard spot. Meat Man, thanks so much for love. I appreciate it. He says, how do you develop offensive linemen without them playing in games? Do they develop on the practice squad? Yeah, I mean, it's like any other position. You learn from the guys that are in front of you. Obviously, by them playing, it will help them develop. But here's the thing. Like I said at the top of the stream, like I say all the time, that's not a position you play with. With a second-year quarterback learning a new system, that's not a position you play with. You're not going to throw these tackles out there to the wolves to learn on the fly, and then you get Daniel Jones killed because of it. You have to put the best guys out there that keep your quarterback on his feet, that give holes to Saquon Barkley to help Daniel Jones manage the game. So, yes, do I want to see development? Yes, but by the same token, Daniel Jones has to mature as well, and you have to keep him on his feet. So, that's why I don't expect those two guys to play this year, unless it's late in the season. Join late, how do you feel about our defense? Can it hold up against the more tough offensive teams? Connor, to be completely honest with you, I think our defense is going to struggle early on in the season with the shortened offseason. I do think we have a bright future. We've got some nice young talent, but we're still 1 or 2 huge pieces away from having a really good defense. But I'm excited to see the defense. I'm excited to see the young players, how they've matured, how they're going to fit in the Patrick Graham scheme. But if I'm being completely honest, I mean, I think we're going to struggle. And I think the best help for our defense this year is what I've said time and time again. It's going to be a strong running game and keeping that defense fresh and off the field. If we can win the time of possession by 3 or 4 minutes each week, we stand a good chance to win the games, but we kind of have to mask that defense. It's definitely not our strength right now. The offense is the better part of our football team as far as I'm concerned. Peter, man, thanks so much for that, man. I appreciate it, man. Are the New York Yankees the greatest franchise in all of professional sports history? Well, Peter, I could only speak for American sports. I don't know enough about soccer. I don't know enough about, sports outside of the 4 major sports in America. And yes, it's not even a debate. They've got 27 championships. Yes, Yankees are the most prestigious, well-accomplished franchise in the history of sports. Now, some teams that you can argue, okay? If you look at it like from this perspective, maybe you can argue the Steelers due to the fact that the Super Bowl era has only been around since 1967, and the fact that they've only had 7 losing seasons during that entire time span in a sport with so much parity. That is a huge accomplishment that people don't talk enough about. But because of the championships, 27 championships, I don't think there's a debate. I think it has to be the Yankees. The Canadians, I think, have the second most with 24 or 22. And then after that, the Lakers, the Celtics, I think, are up there as well as the St. Louis Cardinals. But, yeah, the Yankees are the best. I do think the Steelers should get more consideration than they get. Due to the fact that they've just been so consistent in a sport with so much parities. But I would have to go with the Yankees. Let's see what we got here. To back up Barkley, would you want a versatile running back or I've talked about this. I'd want a power guy. I was completely on board with the Giants bringing in a guy like Dillon if he was available later in the draft. He got overdrafted by the Packers, but I would want a power guy. We don't have that on our roster right now. And hopefully next year we're able to address that. I do like some of the guys we brought in. I think Lewis is a good veteran. He's got experience with Judge. Maybe he could help a bit. Hopefully Gallman fixes the fumbling problems. And Javon Leak, I think we're all excited about. He had over 7 yards per carry in college. And, hopefully he gets an opportunity to shine this year with the Giants. But, yeah, I prefer a power back for Barkley. We don't really have one on this team right now. And She Got Sports is in the chat. I'm glad to see she's in here. Thank you for being here. Go check her out, by the way. She's a content creator. What's up, Joe Lutz, man? Papa Smurf. Papa Cannoli in the chat. What's up, Joey Lutz? Let's see what we got here. Shocked you knew that about the Habs, considering you aren't a hockey guy, I know my sports. I know my sports. I actually, when I was a kid, I used to watch hockey. I watched, that's why I say I'm not really an Islander or Ranger fan. As a kid, the Rangers were really good. I followed the Rangers. I remember the 94 Cup. Stefan Matteau. So I remember the goal. Obviously, you had Richter on that team. You had Messier. You had Brian Leetch. You had Adam Graves. You had Jeff Bukaboom. I know a little bit about hockey. I just don't watch it enough. I'm going to pull for the Islanders because they're still in the playoffs and because I live on Long Island. So I always slightly favor the Islanders, but I don't have any hate for the Rangers, for sure. Andrew Christopher, man, thanks so much for the love, man. He just says, hi. Hola. What's going on, Andrew Christopher? You're the man, dude. Always shows me so much love on Twitter. One of my best supporters. Could never say thank you enough for everything you do for my channel. Independent Outsider, man, thank you. I would love to do. She Got Sports. You want to come on? You let me know. You want to come on the channel, do a live stream? You let me know. Definitely have you on. Independent Outsider says, how many years will Betts live up to his contract? So how long was the Betts contract? That was, was it 10 or 13? I always get it mixed up with Trout. Was it 10? I can't remember if it was 10 or 13. But he's 27. You'll probably get a good 6-7 years out of him. You'll probably get a good 6-7, maybe 8 years out of him. Depending on if he could stay healthy. You look at Ken Griffey Jr., he kind of fell off by the age of 29 or 30 due to injuries with the Cincinnati Reds. But if he could stay healthy, I think you'll get. It was a big contract, but that's the way baseball is. Their contracts are outrageous. What's going on, Rob Pro? Thanks for popping in the stream. What's going on, Zach? Thank you for being here. And Jersey Life, I appreciate that, my man. Yeah, thank you to everybody for being here. If you haven't done so, please hit that thumbs up, subscribe, ring the bell. It was 12 years for Betts. Maybe 8 years. Maybe 8 years. But that's the way baseball works with those contracts. You usually end up paying a lot at the back end of it. Islanders are up 3-2 end of the second right now. So there you go. So once the playoffs actually start, I know it's like a 2 out of 3 playing round. I'll try to keep up with the Islanders and watch their first round series when I can. I'm not going to stream it. I can't do the play-by-play for that. I don't watch hockey enough, but I try to watch playoff hockey when the New York teams are in it. Chris, congrats on one. Yeah, I just hit 1K on Instagram. I appreciate that, Nona. Yeah, and if you guys haven't done it, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. I appreciate that, my man. Rookies of the year? I mean, it's got to be, obviously in the NFL, you get an offensive and defensive rookie of the year. Defensive rookie of the year, the favorite has to be Chase Young. And for offense, I mean, most people are going to tell you probably Burrow because he was the first overall pick because he's probably going to be starting day one. He's probably the odds-on favorite. If I was going to pick somebody outside of him, maybe I go with Jerry Jeudy. I think he's going to get an opportunity in Denver to put up good numbers. I might go with Jeudy if I'm not going with Burrow. I don't think Tua's going to start the season. I don't think Herbert's going to start the season. So I would go Burrow. If not Burrow, I'd go Jeudy, and I think Chase Young's far and away the favorite on defense. Let's see what we got here. I just followed yesterday, and so I appreciate that, Justin. Did you hear about Patrick Mahomes? It now is a partial owner. Yes, I did hear about that, which is pretty cool. He's an owner of a baseball team while he's still playing in the NFL. And what he got paid, I mean, he got paid $500 million. So he can do that. He can partially own a team. And I don't know how he's going to keep up with the team while he's playing football, but that's pretty cool. He gets to be an owner of a team that in a city that he plays in. And you can follow me on Instagram. I appreciate that, Nona. What has been busy lately, but what is your reaction to Pat Mahomes' massive contract? Zachary, my reaction to Pat Mahomes' massive contract is this. One, yes, it's obviously an absurd contract. I think he's getting paid on average $50 million a year. I worry that it could affect the quarterback market, and I say it all the time. Not for Pat Mahomes, but for most quarterbacks, the quarterback position is the most overpaid position in sports, and this should only drive it up even more so. Hopefully people realize he's Pat Mahomes. But for the Chiefs, as crazy as it sounds, I think it makes sense because now you have the ability to pair up arguably the best coach in football once Belichick retires and the best offensive mind in football with the best quarterback in football. You were able to tie those guys up together now for the next 7 or 8 years or however long Andy Reid's going to coach. And those two together alone, you're probably going to win at least 2 more Super Bowls. And if you do, it's well worth the investment. So, as crazy as it may sound, I don't think it was a bad signing. But I do worry about what it'll do for the New York Giants and Daniel Jones and other quarterbacks. Rob, man, thanks so much for love. I appreciate it. Which rookie quarterback will have a breakout season? Rob, I think that Burrow's going to be the only one that really gets a great opportunity. I don't think Tua is going to start the season. And yeah, I think Burrow's got to be the answer. I think Burrow's got some weapons there. They get their first round pick back, who got hurt last year, the offensive lineman, so he's back. You got AJ Green. They drafted T. Higgins. You've got a talented running back with Mixon. So if there's a quarterback that will break out this year as a rookie, I would guess it would be Burrow, just because I think he's going to get the best opportunity to do so, which is playing time. I don't think those other guys are going to play 16 games. So, yeah. Our rookie of the year's got to be Andrew Thomas. I mean, Andrew Thomas or McKinney. It's got to be Andrew Thomas or McKinney. Peter, man, thanks so much for that, man. I appreciate it. He says, if we generate 40 sacks as a team and Bradbury and McKinney immediately elevate our secondary, are we 50% to win 9 games? I don't know how many sacks we had last year. I think we were in the low 30s, but I could be wrong on that. If we get 40 sacks, that's probably top, right around middle of the league. Maybe a little bit higher, maybe top 12 or so. And if McKinney is really good in coverage, Bradbury's really good in coverage, yeah, we got a chance to be a 500 team if that happens. Maybe slightly above, like you said, with 9 wins. But it's going to come down to the offense, too. It's going to come down to that offensive line running the football and Daniel Jones. The biggest key to the Giants winning 9 games this year, if they're going to be able to do it, is Daniel Jones. But the biggest key to allowing Daniel Jones to be able to do that is, 1, health, and 2, the improved offensive line. His weapons have to stay healthy, and the offensive line has to hold water. I think that's the biggest factor. But yes, if those things happen and we get pressure on the quarterback, yeah, why? Yes, I think a lot of people don't expect that. But yeah, if we're top 10 or 12 in sacks as a team, and Bradbury plays really well and McKinney plays really well, yeah, we could be an 8 or 9 win team. But that's asking a lot. Brent, man, thanks so much for love. What's going on, Matthew Garcia? Who will become the sack leader this year? I think it's going to be by committee. I really don't. It's so hard for me to put a finger on it. I honestly can't tell you. You know, I've guessed O'Shane Ximines. And it's going to be interesting to see how it's divvied up now with Marcus Golden coming back. Who's going to get the playing time? Because Golden got by far the most snaps at the edge rusher position last year. Is he still going to get those snaps? If he does, he may be the guy. I'll still go with Ximines, but it could be anybody. It could be Lorenzo Carter. It could be Ximines. It could be anybody. It could be 6 different guys. But I don't expect anybody to have more than 7.5, 8 sacks. I think it'll be by committee. Fackrell could get in there as well. I don't expect to have a 12-sack guy in this football team. What's going on, Zach? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. Your Mets won last night. Yes, I'm going to be calling the game tonight as well as I try to remain optimistic about my New York Mets. We'll see if we can pull out a win against the Nationals. Big series tonight. And the Yankees are rained out, so maybe some Yankee fans will come and hang out tonight. And you guys will probably be rooting for the Nationals because you don't like the Mets. But we'll have some fun tonight, hopefully. Martinez will lead the way on defense. With sacks, I don't think so. Not sacks, but I do think Martinez could have a strong year for the New York Giants in the middle. You still worry about his coverage ability, but he is a smart linebacker from everything you read, and hopefully he's good. We haven't had a strong middle linebacker in forever. Ogletree certainly didn't live up to it. Who are the AL and NL Cy Young so far? I have no idea. I follow the Mets. I don't look at other teams' box scores, to be completely honest with you, and it's way too early. It's only 2 starts in. I have no idea. I know that Judge is off to a fantastic start. I think he's got 6 home runs. Yeah, I'm a Met guy. So I don't know about I haven't looked into the rest of the league this early in. Michael, man, thanks so much for the love, man. He says, offensive rookie of the year, dark horse, Clyde. Yes, good call. He's going to get an even better opportunity because Damian Williams opted out. So now Edwards-Helaire is going to get even more. If you're in fantasy football, if you do fantasy football, which I'm doing with my members, we talked about that last night, make sure you got your eyes on Edwards-Helaire. The Kansas City Chiefs historically, not just the Chiefs, Andy Reid historically, the running backs blow up. And now he's gonna get the touches. He's gonna get all the touches. So Edwards-Helaire, that's a good one. I should have mentioned him. He is definitely a sleeper for offensive rookie of the year. Good call with him. I'm your 1,002nd follower. Well, I appreciate that, my man. Hot take: Martinez will be the highest graded coverage linebacker. You are flaming hot. You are in a volcano right now, Jawad, with that take. But I appreciate it. I do. And Brem, man, thanks for love. Who will lead the team in interceptions and breakups? Interceptions and breakups. Again, that's so hard to predict. I don't think it'll be Bradbury because I think they're going to throw away from Bradbury, being that he's by far our best corner right now. So it might be whoever starts on the opposite end of Bradbury, just because I think they're going to get a lot of opportunities. But I'll go with one of the safeties. I'll go with Peppers. But it could be anybody. I'll go with Peppers though, but I don't think it'll be Bradbury. I think they'll stay away from Bradbury because you have such an inexperienced corner on the other side. How will Conley do? Mark, I got to see if he's healthy first. If he's healthy, I think he do well. He did well last year in the 3 or 4 games he got an opportunity. But I got to see if he's healthy. We've heard the reports, but, we got to see him in game action, see if he's still the same player coming off an injury like that. But I like Conley. I'm rooting for him. He's definitely a fan favorite. Everybody loves Conley. You talk to 95% of Giants fans, they absolutely love Ryan Conley. Julian Love could be up there as well, depending on the position he plays. What's going on there, Alphabet? Thanks for popping in the stream, my man. With the salary cap that we have left, who do you think we should sign? Yeah, we'll see if they do it. I've talked about it in the past. They're not very clear with what the ramifications are if you spend that cap. Does it hurt next year's cap? And if it does, then the Giants should just let it carry over. But I've talked about Logan Ryan. I think he could make sense. They could use a veteran cornerback. There's not a lot of big names outside of guys like Clowney. Everson Griffin doesn't fit our scheme. People have brought him up, but he's really exclusively a 4-3 defensive end. If you're talking big names, it's either Clowney or Ryan, but I honestly don't think we're going to get either one. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, Bangle does not like him. Do you think Daniel Jones will get to be a team captain? Yes, I do. Word. The way that Daniel Jones handled the offseason, I think he showed a lot of leadership, whether you agree with what he had to say or not. Being a leader is listening to your teammates, and yes, I think he's definitely taken over that leadership responsibility. I expect him to be a captain. Not to mention he's the quarterback. I think the team's going to want to force feed him that captain role. If I'm not mistaken, I think Eli Manning got it year 2, and he was not the most vocal guy. Yeah, I think Jones will be one of the captains for sure. DJ, what's up, Rickson, man? Thanks for being here, buddy. DJ put on 9 pounds of muscle this offseason. And yeah, the pictures definitely showed his first day at training camp. The guy looked jacked. He looked like a superhero. He looked like Captain America. Let's see what we got here. Tacos, I'm not bought in on Conley yet. I like Conley. I'm not going to say he sucks. Some Giants fans will tell you that he's not good at all. I saw some good, but I'm not sold on him being an every down middle linebacker. I got to see a lot more before I'm sold on that. Let's see. Oh, man. Thank you so much, Pro, man. He says, who makes the Pro Bowl this year? Okay, I'll go. I will go Saquon. I'll go with one of the special teams guys. I'll go with Ebner. I'll go with Saquon. I'll go with either Core or Ebner. And I'll go with one of the guys on defense. Let's do Peppers. I think Peppers fits the scheme really well. I think he might have the best chance to make the Pro Bowl. I'll go with Peppers. I'll go with Peppers. I'll go with one of the special teams guys, Core, Ebner, and I'll go with Saquon Barkley. I'll go with 3 Pro Bowlers for the New York Giants. I'm calling it Darius Slayton still have a I'm all about Slayton, man. I think Slayton easy 900 yards. Easy. I don't think he'll make the Pro Bowl. There's a lot of competition in the NFC. You look at all the great wide receivers, but I think he could have Pro Bowl or borderline fringe Pro Bowl-like numbers. I think he could have 1050, 1,100 yards, 9, 10 touchdowns. I think he could have a year like that. He fits the scheme really well. New sub from Bosnia. Bavit just moved to Bosnia, and apparently he's a new sub. He's been here forever. I don't know what you've been waiting for, but thank you for subscribing all the way from Bosnia. Jersey Life just brought out the red and blue hearts. Is there any way Gettleman pulls off a Jerry Reese and free? Well, not this year, and I'm glad he didn't. You don't want the Giants to tie up the long-term security for 1 year. Especially when the cap is due to be cut next year, or at least it could be, or at least it's probably going to be frozen. So I don't want him to pull a Jerry Reese. Jerry Reese, I don't know if you're trying to give Reese credit or knock him for his 2016 free agency. Jerry Reese's free agency in 2016 was horrible. It was great for 1 year, and then it set the franchise back, and is a big reason why we're in the position we're in now. So I'm glad that Gettleman didn't do that. Peter, man, thanks so much for love. I appreciate it. He said, Spencer Long, released from the Bills, was a starting center in 2018. Any interest? His most recent contract was for $3 million. I remember when they signed him in 2018, because I remember thinking the Jets should have looked into him. I'm not 100% sure about why he was released, what his injury history may be. I know he's a center. That's a guy maybe you have interest in. I remember in 2018, I thought that the Jets would take a shot at him after they missed out on the guy I think that went to Carolina. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but maybe a guy you could have interest in if he's cost effective. Yeah, That could be an interesting name for sure. Maybe the Giants should take a look at a guy like that. Why not? We don't have any experience at that position right now. I don't trust Pulley at all. And he'd probably be pretty cheap. Barkley, Jones, Thomas for offense, McKinney, Bradbury, and Dexter. Are you talking about the captains? Yeah, I could see that. Did the storm kill the power at MetLife behind you? Why is it so dark? Well, I mean, it's special effects, and it just blinked. But it's special effects, Paviv. It's an optical illusion. It's not actually dark. I mean, come on. But I'm actually at MetLife, but it's not really dark. It's just the lighting. The lighting makes it look dark. Got to go. My computer is about to die. Well, I appreciate you for being here, Road Dog. Thank you so much for being here, man. At least Reese could find good free agents. He could. He had the money to do it, but he did do a pretty good job in free agency. I'll give him credit for that. All around Peppers is crucial. Peppers is huge for this team this year, and he fits the defensive scheme beautifully. He's very versatile. Do you think the Bengals will stunt the growth of Joe Burrow because of how bad their offensive line is? I think the Bengals stunt the growth of any player they bring in. And if I'm Burrow, I'm worried that I'm going to the Bengals. I remember hearing, former quarterbacks came out. Carson Palmer talked about it, talking about how he should force his way away from the team because the Bengals are not a good organization. So yes, I'd worry about the development of the quarterback with Burrow at the Bengals. It's not the best spot for him to end up. There's a reason that, the teams like the Browns and the Bengals don't traditionally develop good quarterbacks. They usually don't put them in the best situations to succeed. So hopefully they do for Burrow's sake. But yeah, I think there's reason for doubt there. No, the power's starting to go on and off. I'm assuming because of the storm. Even though I don't even really hear any rain. But maybe there's wind and stuff like that. But that's been happening throughout the stream, Sabrina. Dexter Lawrence is making the Pro Bowl. He could, Rickson. He definitely could. I like Lawrence. Lawrence is freaking awesome. I'm a huge Dexter Lawrence fan. The Giants are shaping up to be a tremendous nucleus of a winning team. If we play, we'll be much improved. Yeah, I love the direction of the team. I don't want to go in with my expectations way too high. Mainly because of the schedule we play and because of the shortened offseason and we're a young team. But yes, I think the future of this team is very bright. I think that they were smart this year in free agency, did not splurge. But next year, I think you need to start to get aggressive, for the reasons that I've talked about. Oh, thank you so much, Pro Man. I appreciate it. He says, which backup quarterback doesn't make the roster? I think it's going to be Tanny. I think a report came out about Tanny. I didn't get a chance to read it, but I think it'll be Tanny. I'd be surprised if Tanny makes it. Rush has familiarity with the playbook, and, I think it's Tanny. I'd be surprised if it's not Tanny, to be completely honest with you. And they may, if they go with 3, if they go with 2, it'll be McCoy. If they go with 3, I think Rush makes it, but I think Tanny's out no matter what. Peter, man, thanks so much for love. He says, I'm personally embarrassed as a New Yorker for how underwhelming MetLife is compared to Jerry World Vikings. Here's my theory behind that. And Pete, man, thanks for love, man. I appreciate it. Here's my theory for the stadium as to why it's so underwhelming. One, you remember when we were building the stadium, people talked about, the tax purposes, and they were talking about building a new Nassau Coliseum. I think it's because of taxes. And, people say you had $1 billion to spend, or whatever it costs to build a stadium here. But $1 billion in Texas goes a lot, much further than $1 billion in New York. So I think because of the expenses in New York or New Jersey is so much higher than most places around the country, it's very hard when you factor in taxes and everything else for New York to have a state-of-the-art stadium. It would cost a lot more money than it does in Texas. So I think that has something to do with it. But yeah, I am not a big fan of MetLife Stadium, to be completely honest with you. I thought they could have done a better job. I was underwhelmed when I first saw it for the first time, for sure. It's definitely not one of my favorite stadiums. And Grim, man, thanks so much for love. He says, DJ been looking yoked since he looks like a beast, man. 9 pounds of muscle, man. He looks like a superhero. Let's just hope he picks up that playbook. I'm excited for DJ this year. I'm giving him a little bit of a couple of weeks because of the defenses we play in the short and off season, but I'm excited for DJ this year. I think he's going to take a big step forward, particularly the last 8 games of the year. So I'm excited for him. He's definitely been putting in that work, and he's definitely bulked up, and hopefully he's fixed that pocket awareness and the fumbling problems, because if he does, he's going to be a really good quarterback. That's the one thing he's got to work on more than anything. Great chat. He was listening while cleaning my place. Got it done. Thank you. Sean, you got it, my man. I'm glad that you got it done. I'm glad that you were able to clean up your place. And if I assisted with that in any way, I appreciate it. Thank you for letting me know. We are New York and New Jersey. That should not be an excuse. I'm just telling you why I think it happened. Why it happened. I'm not telling you that it's a reasonable excuse, but I would think a stadium costs probably 150% more. Like if a $1 billion stadium in Dallas probably costs 1.5 here, maybe 2 here when you factor in taxes and everything else. The taxes on a stadium here is much higher than that in Dallas. That's just my theory. I could be completely wrong. But regardless, it should be a much better stadium than what it is. What about signing a new one? I don't think it's going to happen. Like I said earlier, the Jets released him for a reason. The guy's got an injury history. The Jets have a huge hole at that position. I don't think they would have released a Nunwa unless they felt like he couldn't play at a high level anymore. So maybe the Giants bring him in for a physical. They give him a look. I don't expect it. I think the Jets released him because they don't think he could play. Otherwise, why not keep him? He's not making a lot of money. You've got who do you got right now on that team? You got Mims, a second-round pick, and you got Denzel Perryman, who's been a bust in the NFL. Anun was probably your most proven receiver if he was healthy. So I don't see it. I think the Jets released it because they know he can't play anymore, or at least right now. So I don't see it. And thank you we got 126 likes. I appreciate that. Anybody that hasn't done so, please spike that like, hit the bell, please subscribe. I appreciate it. You always get dislikes, Edward. Are you kidding me? You always get dislikes whenever you go live. It's expected. It comes with the territory. Anuma made bank and then played like 4. He got hurt. He's been banged up, Aiden. What other team in the NFL do you think is most comparable to the Giants in terms of the way we are building our team? I talked about this in the past. I think it's a little hot down here, so I'm going to take off my hat. I've talked about this in the past. I think the Rams actually are pretty comparable. Not the current Rams. The Rams from 3 years ago or 4, whatever. When McVay first got there, they were coming off a 5-11 season. They had spent an early first-round pick on a running back. They had spent the first overall pick on a quarterback. They brought in a new coach, a young head coach with McVay. I think that's comparable to Judge. They have a lot of similarities on the offensive side of the football. Defense, we don't have Aaron Donald, but I do think the Rams are, from 4 years ago, are pretty comparable, 3 or 4 years ago, whatever it was, are pretty comparable to what the New York Giants are now. And obviously the Rams made the Super Bowl the second year into McVay's career. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it goes to show you that it can. So if I had to pick a team off the top of my head in recent history, I'd say the Rams. The Moss is out. That's right, Nona. The Moss Boys. That's right, man. And Dan, I appreciate that, man. Let's see what we got here. I hear you, bro. I know you're just trying to make sense of it. Love you and Bad Dogs content is winning would make MetLife. Oh, exactly. I say it all the time, man. As a Met fan, people say they miss Shea all the time. I'm like, well, if the Mets won some World Series here, we'd forget all about Shea. And it's the same thing with MetLife Stadium. Winning, at the end of the day, as fans, I could care what. People always complain about the jersey. People complain about the stadium. And I get it. The jersey could use an upgrade, and the stadium's not that good. At the end of the day, if the team's winning, we stop caring about the jersey. We stop caring about where Saquon Barkley ranks on people's lists. You don't care about that. If the team's winning, none of that stuff matters. It's just that the Giants haven't been winning. So we care about those things. Let's see what we got here. Of course, people hate Chris. Heavy hold. Well, Jared, people, it's at the end of the day, you're always going to get haters on YouTube. You expect it. So, or anything in life. Who do you think is going to be the supreme edge rusher? On the Giants, who's going to be the supreme edge rusher on the Giants? We don't have one. But who do I think is going to be the best edge rusher? Probably Golden, if I'm being honest. In terms of getting sacks, if they all play equal snaps, I'd probably have the most faith in Golden. He's coming off a 10-sack season. I think it's either him or Jimenez. Probably, but we don't have a great edge rusher. We just don't. We need one. And hopefully we sign one next year or draft one, but it doesn't look like we're going to be able to draft one in next year's draft. People point to Rousseau, but it doesn't seem to be a very rich draft for the edge rusher position. So I think if we're going to bring in a great one, it'll be in free agency. Let's see what we got here. I appreciate that, D-Best, man. What's going on, man? Thanks for being here, my man. Yes, he did. There's a picture. Picture of what? Oh, Shane. Where y'all at? What? I don't know what you guys are talking about right now. Citi Field is gorgeous again. Yo, Citi Field's phenomenal. I wasn't talking about Citi Field as a whole in terms of the way it looks, But Met fans talk about, there's no good memories at Citi Field, so they miss Shea. But Citi Field blows Shea Stadium out of the water. Yankee Stadium is really nice. I think it's a bit overdone, but it's really nice. I am a fan of Yankee Stadium. I'm not a fan of MetLife. I'm just not. Clock says, hypothetical, you get 10K more subs if you stream Yanks like other people who are not like... What? No, Clocks. I'm going to do... It's just me. People do, me on my channel, I'll do the NBA playoffs because people always want me to do the NBA streams. I don't do the NBA play-by-play unless the Knicks are in it. I'll do the playoffs. Just like I'll do the playoffs for football. But when it comes to regular season games, I do my teams. I do the Knicks. I do the Mets. I do the Giants. That's it. And, during football season, because there's only one Sunday a week, I'll do the Thursday night game. I don't know if I'll do that this year, though. I'll probably focus more on Giants shows like this. I'll probably do a Giants Q&A, stuff like that. But I'd rather call a game of a team that I'm a fan of. It makes it more fun for me. I'm more passionate. My subscribers are fans of that team. So that's just me. But, no, I don't mean to disappoint Yankee fans. I will not call Yankee games. I'm a Met fan, so no. Only when it's Yankees versus Mets, yeah. Judon is a bit overrated, Aiden says. Yeah, Judon is overrated. He's a scheme guy. And you look at the Ravens. I've talked about it in the past. The Ravens are a team that generates pass rush through scheme. They're one of those teams that generates pass rush through scheme. And we're hoping the New York Giants can be one of those teams, but they lost to Darius Smith. They're probably going to lose Judon next year, but they find ways to replace these players because they're very good in coverage and very good up at the line of scrimmage. Yeah, but Roy, Judon is the only edge rusher I could see coming to us. You mean in free agency? Yeah, it's possible. I don't want to trade for him. How many times have you sung Meet the Mets? Oh, how many times have I sung Meet the Mets? I have sung Meet the Mets, I don't know, probably 1,000 times in my life, and it's usually crying over a beer. Do you like the old Giants Stadium? I mean, I was never a huge fan of the Meadowlands. It was not the nicest of stadiums, but to be honest with you, I don't have a lot of good memories there. The Giants always lost. Whenever I go to games, the Giants would lose. I'm bad luck when it comes to going to Giants games. I went to 3 home Giant games the year that they won the Super Bowl in 2007 during the regular season. They lost all 3 of them. I went to the Redskins game, I think it was, the Cowboys game, and I went to 3. I know they lost all 3. I know I went to the Cowboys game. I went to 3. They lost all 3. And they won the Super Bowl that year. So I don't have a lot of good memories when I go to Giants games. They don't do well usually when I go. What's going on, Odell Beckham, man? Thanks for popping in the stream. Yeah, I can't. I cannot do a 24-hour stream. I'll tell you that right now. I cannot do a 24-hour stream. The win at Giants Stadium. Oh God, the win at Giants Stadium was atrocious. But it was an advantage. You used to hear the stories about the ushers, that they would open up the doors to get the wind circulating in the stadium so the opposing teams would miss field goals. The Giants used that to their advantage, and they built the team around that. But, yeah, we don't have that advantage anymore. The wind's not the way it used to be at the old Meadowlands. Who do you want the Knicks to draft? The point guard. I can't answer that question until I know where we're picking. But a point guard. I want a point guard. Or best available player. Obviously, if they feel... Another thing that we really need, but it doesn't seem to be doesn't seem to be a lot of great ones in this draft. Knicks need a shooter. We don't have any great shooters on this team. In today's NBA, you need guys that could hit the 3-ball. We don't have it. So, a point guard, a great shooting guard, somebody that can knock down the 3. But to my understanding, there's not many great shooters in this draft. Tana dressed up for it. No, not dressed up for a date, MH. What's up there, MH? Great first game. I live in Florida, so when the Bucks play against the Giants, I go to the game. Well, you went last year. You got to go to a good game, Matthew. That was a damn good game last year, getting to see Daniel Jones' debut, him running it into the end zone. But, yeah, that's another thing. I talked about that during my member stream last night. That's another thing I want to do in the future once things normalize. I want to be able to go to 1 home game a year and 1 road game a year and try to set that up with subscribers if the channel gets big enough and people want to do it, and set up a, kind of like with the 7 line with the Mets. Do a travel thing for a weekend, go to a away game in Dallas or whatever. I want to do stuff like that in the future. I do want to do stuff like that. Chris, you got a good heart, bro. Real talk. You can't always catch someone's vibe and energy. You don't talk trash. No, I don't try to. I don't try to. Once in a while, I'll get that from other people on YouTube, but I try to stay out of that. I'm not on YouTube. I say it all the time. I know people come to YouTube sometimes for entertainment. They like drama. They like fighting. And I'll go on other YouTubers' channels, and they'll either badmouth me or they won't say my name directly, but I know it's probably about me, or I ignore it. I'm not on YouTube for that. I'm on YouTube to talk about the New York Giants. I'm on YouTube to talk to you guys, have fun, be positive. That's what this channel's about. Once in a while, are you going to see me flip out and get negative? Yeah, I'm a New York sports fan, but I'm not here for drama. I try not to be. What happened to the Yanks game? Yankees aren't playing today. It's because of the rain. Yankees aren't going to play today because of the weather. I'm going to go live a little extra today. I know I said I was going to do these for an hour and a half. I'll go to 3 today. I started at 1:15. I'll go to 3:15. I'll do 2 hours. And then I'm going to take a break. And then I'm going to go live for the Met game tonight. So if Yankee fans got nothing to do tonight, come on over. We'll have some fun calling the Met game. If the Mets play, we'll see. But from what I looked at on the weather report, it looks like the Mets are going to play. I don't think it's going to rain in Washington. Let's see what we got here. Who is the dark horse? Victor Cruz this year? Victor Cruz, he's done, man. He's been out of the league now for what, 4 or 5 years? Victor Cruz is done, man. He works for ESPN or whatever he works for. Giants wins. I'm gonna go with 6. I think 6 is appropriate. I think some people are too far down, like 3, 4 wins. I think 6. I got them about 6 and 10. They play a really tough schedule. Someone in your comments said the Jets were the names. Listen, Timmy Times. I'm not even going to talk about that. That guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Period. I had a guy I just ignore people like that, but I mentioned in my Discord. I had a guy come on and he commented because he saw my intro and he ripped me apart for rooting for the Mets as a Giants fan. He said that shouldn't be allowed and that something along those lines. And I said to myself, who are you to tell me who I root for? And it's not even like I'm rooting for a team out of state. And it's not like I don't have reasoning. I grew up on Long Island. Long Island traditionally roots more for the Mets. Yes, they root more traditionally for the Jets, but I align with the Giants. And I just fell in love with the Mets history. I like the underdog. My grandma was a diehard Met fan. My mother was a diehard Met fan. So I fell in love with the team. But I laughed at that comment. I'm not going to talk about it, but I laughed at that comment. NFL stands for not for long. I hope not, Rafael DeLuna. And there's my Instagram. You can follow me on there. I appreciate that, my man. Thank you very much. Yeah, some people are like, I don't get it. Who do I think will be the Cruz of the team? And I'm going to get to Hazelnut's question next. Who do I think will be the Cruz of the team? I mean, nobody. Cruz caught for what, 1,700 yards that one year? I don't expect anybody to be that. But who do I think could be the breakout receiver? I mean, it'll be Slayton. If there's going to be a breakout receiver on this year's team this year, a guy that could have a Pro Bowl-like season, I'd go with Slayton. But do I think anybody's going to be a Cruz? No, that's asking a lot. Hazelnut says, how effective would Charles Casserly be jumping off the top ropes with a flying elbow? I don't know how to answer that question. Hazelnut. No, I think I'm still alive. I think I'm still good. Will the Wizards have a shot at I do not know. I'm to be completely honest with you, I have no interest in the NBA until the playoffs. I'm not following it. I don't know. That's why I've been calling the games. I have no interest. The Knicks aren't in it. To me right now, the NBA regular season is pointless. They play 8 games. We know the teams that are in the playoffs for the most part. You know it's the Clippers. You know it's the Lakers. You know all the top Eastern teams. To me, these are kind of just scrimmages to get in shape for the playoffs. I know that there's a couple teams on the outskirts. I really don't have much of an interest in the 7 and 8 seeds. They're not going to do anything come playoff time. Once the playoff starts, I'll get into the NBA. Am I muted? I should be good now. Am I still muted? Barkley got 1,000-yard rushing, 1,000-yard. Can Barkley do that? Yeah. Will he? Probably not. I don't think that I don't see the Giants throwing it that much to Barkley where he's going to get 1,000 yards receiving. I do think he could have 1,600 yards rushing. I think the Giants are going to make a commitment to the run this year, and I think Barkley will be heavily involved. We'll see what they do in the passing game. I don't expect another 92 reception year like he had in his rookie season. He's definitely capable of it, but I don't expect it. I'm excited to see how they implement Barkley, though, how they use him in the passing game. You do need to get a player like that out in space because he could break big plays. I appreciate that, Carlos. 1 year Barkley will get 1,000. He's definitely capable of doing it, Dan. There's 2 running backs in the league right now who are capable of doing it. Him and the guy that did it last year. And thank you for posting my Instagram, though, and I appreciate that, man. I'm a Yankees fan, but there's something about those all blue Mets jerseys with the orange, especially on the video. I love the Mets jerseys. The Yankees jerseys are great, too. They're classics. The pinstripes. The Yankees grays are great, where it says New York across the middle. I got respect for the Yankees uniforms. They're classic. They're simple, but they're classic. But I love the Mets uniforms, especially the 80s, the 86 team with the stripes on the side. I love those uniforms. I got to get one of those. I've been wanting to get one of those for a while. Best edge rusher on the Giants besides Golden. I'll go with Jimenez, but it's unproven. It could be any one of the 3. It could be Fackrell. It could be Carter, but I'll go with Jimenez. He finished strong last year. They have 2 picks in the first round, 3 picks overall, the Knicks. Chris, how do you think Julian Love will do this year? How do I think Julian Love will do this year? I got to see what role he plays. You know, he might get a challenge that none of us expected. He might be playing on the outside cornerback spot. You know, and if he does, we'll see how he could perform in that role. He might be playing in the slot corner. He might be playing in the safety. I think they're going to move him around. But I do think Julian Love could have a good year for the Giants. But I got to see what role he has before I could really comment on that. But I like Love. He played well last year. I forgot who came out with it. I think it was PFF said that he was the most underrated player on our team, or at least on our defense. I like Julian Love. I think he could play well. I just don't know what position he's going to play yet. So I got to kind of wait to see that. That's going to be one of the interesting storylines is where do these guys line up in training camp? Who's getting the reps on the outside? Who's playing the slot? 3 safety sets, stuff like that. But we'll see how they play Julian Love, where they play him. Yeah, the 86 jersey is awesome. Shireen, what's going on? I appreciate it. Shireen's always helped me out on Twitter. I appreciate it. She says, I just can't wait until one of the New York City teams I root for are respectful. All my teams suck. I'm a Giants and Met fan. Nothing wrong with that. Shireen, you and me both. We are trapped. We are trapped in the abyss of rooting for crappy New York teams right now. I am a Met, Giant, and Knicks fan. And my 3 teams combined have less wins than what the New York Yankees get in a 162 game season. So it's tough to root for our teams right now. But I promise you it goes in cycles. Eventually we'll get good. I just don't know. I might be dead, but eventually it's going to happen. I promise you. Chris, of the free agent, which wide receiver you think will make the roster? I think there's a chance that 2 could make it, but I think Benjamin Victor's the favorite just because of his height, his ability to catch touchdowns. I think he had like 7 touchdowns in like limited receptions last year. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but I think he could be a red zone target. He's 6'4". I think he makes the most sense as a guy that could make the roster of the undrafted free agents. But I think 2 could make it. At least the Giants and Yankees are the most established. Well, yeah, that's true. Oh, listen, I'm not complaining. I just told you I'm a Knicks and a Mets fan outside of the Giants. I am not complaining with what the Giants have given me. I am beyond thankful that they won me 2 championships. Beyond thankful because the other 2 teams haven't got me any. So I will never complain about the New York Giants. It's been really tough the last 5 years or so, 6, 7 years. But I have a ton of respect for the New York Giants, what they've brought for my life as a sports fan. Especially being a Mets fan, okay? I know what championships mean, believe me. So, you'll never hear me complain about the New York Giants, ever. They could have another 5 years of this. You'll never hear me complain. I'll be positive. I'll believe that they could get it back on track. Sills still has the chance of the... Sills definitely has a chance. And from what I read, he's good to go now. He no longer has the COVID, from what I read. If we get a top 5 pick next year, who are you taking? Way too early to tell. But there may not be a college season. So, I mean, Rousseau, right? We all think that we need an edge rusher. Here's what I'll say. I'm not going to give players yet. I have not done enough research. Edge rusher, corner, coverage linebacker. That's what I'd be looking at. unless the tackle that everybody's raving about is too good to pass up. But I'd be looking at those positions in terms of need: edge rusher, coverage linebacker, cornerback. I think those are our three biggest needs outside of the center position. But you're not taking a center that early. I think the Giants will go 6-9-1. I think that's a fair estimate. 6 or 7 wins. 5 to 7 wins, I think, is a fair estimate. They need to fire Gettleman to be back on track. I worry about firing Gettleman because then you get a GM who has a completely new plan. I worry about it. I always say be careful what you wish for, Timmy. Surprise live stream while I'm at work. Stay safe in the storm, Chris. Listen, James, first off, thank you for being here. The power to my basement has gone out. The power to the stream hasn't gone out, but the lights have flickered 4 or 5 times since I've been live. I had to take my hat off because it's hot down here. I forgot to turn on the fan. But hopefully it holds up for the Mets game tonight because I'm doing the Mets game. But I hope everybody's staying safe out there. Thank you for being here, buddy. I love Holmes. I'm a big fan of Holmes. Let me put the hat on now. They'll be looking. Yes, they will. Looking at high school film. All I want for my teams is to put in full effort every game, and I just focus. I mean, that's all you could ask for right now, Sabrina, as a Giants fan, and really as a Mets fan, and every team that I root for, the Knicks as well. They're not teams that are ready to win right now. I mean, the Mets, I thought, could compete in the National League, but especially the Knicks and the Giants, they're teams that you have to appreciate the youth and them coming up and improving over time. You're not going to get championships right away with these teams. You're just not. All right, Alphabet. I'll see you soon, my man. Shireen says, what do you think about what Cespedes did? I don't like it. Shireen, I can't blame him for opting out. I can't blame him for that. But what I do blame him for is doing it in the method in which he did. He didn't tell anybody. He didn't show up for the game. For all they knew, he was hurt. You know, he wasn't answering his phone. Didn't tell any of his teammates. So I don't respect that. In terms of his decision not to play, I mean, you know, everybody has different opinions on this, whether they believe in this or whether they don't, in terms of it being as severe as people are saying on the news. Regardless, you have to respect people's opinions on it. And, yeah, if Cespedes feels like he's endangering his life, I can't blame him for electing not to play, especially a player like that, a guy that's made as much money as he has. This guy's made, I think, $25 million a year over the last couple of years, so I don't blame Cespedes at all for not playing, but the way in which he did it, I thought was, completely out of line. Would you take Jamar Chase in the top 5? I mean, he's a supremely gifted wide receiver. I don't want to take a receiver in the top 5, personally. I just don't. It's a very deep class. We have so many needs on the defensive side of the ball. I'd rather try to find one in the second or the third round. That's me. If they feel Jamar Chase is like a Julio Jones type wide receiver, I can't get on him for it. But I would rather try to get and this is all assuming things right now. I don't know how they're going to evaluate these players. We're way far away from the draft right now. I don't know what they're going to think about Rousseau. I don't know what they're going to think about, you know, some of the defensive prospects in next year's draft. But if they're very high in a defensive prospect, I'd rather take a defensive player than a wide receiver that early in the first round. Clock says, Chris, do you think Cespedes was spur? Probably, yes. I maybe it was on his mind, but yes, I think it was. I mean, the guy played up until that day, so yes, I do. I think we should cut Leonard Williams, then sign Clowney. Yeah. Listen, I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't be against it. I don't think they're going to do it, but I wouldn't be against it. No, Aiden, listen, I am very anti-wide receiver top 5. I will always be very anti-wide receiver top 5 in a draft. I don't believe in spending an early first-round pick at that position. That's just my opinion. Everybody's different. Like I said, that guy has to be the best to be worthy of that pick because I look at it like this. A strong ground game and offensive line is going to make your you could get by with decent receivers. They're going to look great or very good. Look at the Packers. I know you're a Packers fan, Aiden. The Packers haven't drafted a first-round wide receiver Aaron Rodgers' entire career. That is the craziest stat to me. Aaron Rodgers has never thrown a touchdown to a first-round wide receiver. Yet Aaron Rodgers was the best quarterback in football for 7 or 8 years. Very good quarterbacks with a great surrounding cast with an offensive line. They can make wide receivers look a lot better than what they really are. Of course, will a great wide receiver help? Yes. but I do think that there's other areas of more importance than a wide receiver. So that's just me. I don't believe in taking a wide receiver that early. Who is the best wide receiver drafted in the first round to win a Super Bowl? I mean, Tyreek. No. What am I saying? Tyreek Hill wasn't a first round wide receiver. But I mean, no. I got to think about it. I'm trying to think of first round. All right. I'm trying to think of the best wide receivers. Randy Moss never won a Super Bowl. He was a first round pick. Terrell Owens was not a first round pick. Never won a Super Bowl anyway. Jerry Rice was not a first round pick. I think Michael Irvin was a first round pick, I believe. So he's up there probably. Chris Carter, I don't know if he was a first round pick, but he never won. Tim Brown, I don't think ever won. Calvin Johnson never won. Larry Fitzgerald never won. Julio Jones has never won. Off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure Irvin was a first round pick. It's Michael Irvin. Off the top of my head. Odell Beckham never won. Jerry Rice wasn't a first round pick. Chris Tyler. Jerry Rice was a first? Oh, that's my mistake then. My mistake. Jerry Rice was a first. I thought he was later than the first round pick. That's my mistake. I always thought he was my apologies. I always thought he was like a second or third round pick. So I apologize. But here's what I'll say about Jerry Rice and Michael Irvin for that matter. Both of those guys won their Super Bowls before the salary cap era. When you could keep the team around, you weren't losing players to free agency. I want everybody in the chat to do me a favor. Antonio Brown, I know, was not a first-round pick, and he didn't win a Super Bowl. I want everybody in the chat to do me a favor and tell me one wide receiver that has won a Super Bowl getting paid a lot of money. I don't think it's ever happened in the salary cap era. I don't think it's ever happened. Tyreek Hill's a great wide receiver. He won this year, but he's still on his rookie contract. Larry Fitzgerald went to a Super Bowl, but I believe he was still on his rookie contract because I remember he got paid a lot after the fact. Calvin Johnson never sniffed one. Julio Jones got paid after the Super Bowl appearance, I'm pretty sure. Once receivers get paid, very hard to win Super Bowls. I mean, that's any position, but wide receiver in particular. What's going on, sports expert? Thanks for popping in the stream, my man. Patrick Surtain, Parsons, those are two possibilities. Tyreek Hill was on a rookie contract. I don't count rookie contracts. That's not affecting your salary cap. He was on a rookie contract. I'm talking about once they get paid. How much does Edelman get paid? Edelman doesn't get paid that much. I mean, if Brady, I don't know Edelman's contract, but if Brady's taking a discount, I assume Edelman does too. I don't think Edelman gets paid that much. I'm talking one of the top 5 or 6 paid at his position. Edelman doesn't get that money. Knicks was still on his rookie contract. What was not the one guy that pops to my head? I don't know how much Jordy Nelson was getting paid. The one guy that pops to my head is Plaxico Burress. The Giants paid him a pretty penny. They won a Super Bowl with him. I don't know what he was getting paid in relation to other receivers at the time, but I would assume he's one of the higher paid receivers. They brought him in free agency. So there's one, but it's very, very rare. Very rare. Hey, I'm back. What's going on, Hetman? Thanks for popping in the stream. Antonio Brown never won a Super Bowl. Never won a Super Bowl. Never even went to a Super Bowl. And I don't know what Jordy Nelson was getting paid, so I can't speak on him. Terrell Owens went to a Super Bowl, never won. Went to a Super Bowl. For the 2020 season, which player on defense will have a good year in your opinion, Chris? I mean, I've talked about Leo Williams, but I don't know about that now. I think Dexter Lawrence is going to have a really good year. I'm a big fan of Dexter Lawrence. I think I'll go Dexter Lawrence. I think Dexter Lawrence is going to have a really good year. I also think Pepper's going to have a really good year, and I also think Bradbury's going to have a really good year. Randy Moss never won. Went to one, never won. Sharp with Green Bay. He was still young, and plus that was before the salary cap era. That was the salary cap era I believe was in 90. Maybe it wasn't, but regardless, Sharp was young. He only played 4 or 5 years in the league. I don't think he was getting paid a lot yet. But it might have even been before this. Actually, probably wasn't. No, it wasn't, because, it was after the Cowboys. But I'm almost positive he wasn't getting paid big money yet. Tornado watch in Suffolk County. Jeez. Alshon Jeffries. That's possible. Did he have a lot to do with it, though? But that's possible, and the only reason that was possible is because they had Carson Wentz on a rookie contract at the quarterback position. But you're reaching there with Alshon Jeffries. He's not really a great receiver, but I guess there's an outlier. That's a reach, though. 9.6 is nothing for a wide receiver. That's less than what Golden Tate makes, I think. 9.6 is nothing. I mean, what is that? That's 5% of the cap. I'm talking about guys that make, 10% of the cap or more at the wide receiver position. That's not less than $10 million is not a lot for a number one wide receiver. Greg Jennings. Again, I'd have to look at the contracts. I don't know. Maybe you guys got me with that one. But what I would point to with that is Aaron Rodgers. I mean, had a lot more to do with that than those guys. But I'd have to look at the contracts. That's possible. It's possible, but you're reaching. Okay. You could probably find one. You could probably find 1, 2, 3. Regardless of the outliers you find me. Randy Moss never won. Jerry Rice doesn't count. He's before the salary cap era. It's when it was very easy to keep players attacked. Julio Jones never won. Larry Fitzgerald's never won. Name the top wide receivers in the league. They haven't won. Odell Beckham's never won. DeAndre Hopkins has never won. Name the top wide receivers in the league. Michael Thomas is yet to win. He just got paid. So, Danilo Gallinari has never won. No. Greg Jennings put the team on his back? No, I think Aaron Rodgers put the team on his back. I think Aaron Rodgers put the team on his back. Which wide receiver will take the biggest leap this year, in your opinion? I got to think about second-year receivers, because usually I'd go with a second-year guy. I'll tell you what, man. It depends on a lot of it's going to depend on Haskins, but I think McLaurin's a really good receiver. I could see McLaurin having a big year. I'm talking 1,400 yards. They don't have a lot of weapons there. I'll go with Terry McLaurin, but a lot depends on Haskins. But I do like Terry McLaurin a lot. I could see him having a big year this year for a second-year receiver. Entertainer is not cultured. I don't know what I missed. Was there a joke? If you think Greg Jennings was the primary reason why the Packers won that Super Bowl, we could argue all day. We could argue all day on that. He wasn't close to the primary reason for the Packers winning that Super Bowl. What's going on, Kelly, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, my man. Rod Smith. Rod Smith was with the Broncos. Again, I'd have to look at the contract. I'd have to look at what he was making. I don't know. Why am I so anti-wide receiver? I'm not anti-wide receiver. I'm anti-paying positions that I don't feel are the most important positions a lot of money. Wide receiver is one of those positions for me. Everybody's got their own opinions. Here's my levels of importance on a football team. Quarterback, offensive line, any position is more important than a wide receiver. Pass rusher, any position is more important than a wide receiver. Coverage linebacker to me is more important than a wide receiver. Cornerback is more important than a wide receiver. Then you can start to argue wide receiver. That's me. I got it 6th or 7th in terms of level of importance. That's my opinion. It doesn't mean I'm anti-wide receiver. I just don't like paying wide receivers a lot of money. If I was a GM, most of my money goes in the trenches, and it goes to my quarterback. I think if I have a really good quarterback, he's going to make my wide receivers look a lot better, especially if I've got an offensive line to protect them. Let's see what we got here. When I say Greg Jennings put the team on his back, it was a video. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not a Madden guy. I'm not a Madden guy. I'm not a Madden guy. I also did a video talking about wide receivers and drafting them from over the last 10 years. I think it was from 2007 to 2017 because you wanted 2 or 3 years to evaluate the draft, so I didn't do 18 and 19. 2/3 of Pro Bowlers at the wide receiver position were drafted the second round or later. Almost every other position, it was the reverse. So that is a position on top of everything else that I feel like you could get value later in the draft as opposed to other positions. Chris, I saw your tweet yesterday. Why does Walter Football have I have no idea, Kelly, but I hope they're right. I hope they're right and I'm wrong. What's up, Road Dog? What's going on, Mercedes-Benz? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. OBJ was a great asset. OBJ was a great asset. One of the best wide receivers in the sport. And he's worth his money. I'm just telling you, if I was a GM, I don't believe in paying wide receivers that type of money. Look at the best teams. Who are the best? All right, guys, I want everybody in the chat to type the best teams in the sport. Type the best teams in the sport over the last 10 years. Patriots. Patriots don't spend money on wide receivers. They brought in Randy Moss. Randy Moss was coming off an atrocious year with Oakland, so they got him on a bargain, right? They've not drafted a first-round wide receiver outside of last year since 1996 with Terry Glenn. Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers have had great receivers, but you know what they've had in common with that? Those wide receivers don't see a second contract. Antonio Brown was in a straitjacket. That has a lot to do with it. But he didn't see a second contract. Antonio Holmes didn't see a second contract. Plaxico Burress didn't see a second contract. Steelers, Patriots. Those have been your two most consistent teams, right? The Ravens, they haven't had supreme wide receivers. They've been pretty consistent. Name me the best teams in the league over the last 10 years. The most consistent teams. They don't spend at the wide receiver position. What's up, Anthony? Thanks for popping in the stream. Packers, I just said it. What's up, Pizzle, man? Thanks for being here, buddy. I just said the Packers. They haven't drafted a first round wide receiver since Aaron Rodgers has been there. The Seahawks are another one. Doug Baldwin. I mean, was he a first round pick? I don't think so. They haven't had great wide receivers there. The Chiefs, yeah, they got Pat Mahomes. Those guys, and outside of Tyreek Hill, those guys are still, yeah. You could say the Chiefs. You could say the Chiefs, but most of the top team, and I think that has a lot more to do with Andy Reid than anything else, and Pat Mahomes. Over under 9.5 games for the Steelers this season. I think they're right around there, 8 to 10 wins. I would go slightly under. I think they're an 8 or 9 win team, but I wouldn't be shocked if they win 10 games. Tana, what did you think of the Chris Paul and the Melo Ball to the New? I don't want Chris Paul with the New York Knicks. Don't want him. He's like 30-something years old. We're a rebuilding team. I've seen Knicks fans talk about that. I want nothing to do with that. You paid James Jones, Greg Jennings, Donald Driver, but since then we haven't. All right. Yeah, but I said the last 10 years. But yeah, you can find some outliers. But regardless, Patriots are the best team in the sport, and the Steelers have been the second most consistent. The Steelers had some really good wide receivers, but they didn't pay them. Once they were set to get paid, they let them walk, and they drafted another one. That's what they've done. They don't value the wide receiver in terms of paying them. Only the Packers have more championships than the Giants. This is true. This is true, Jersey Life. Is video out of sync? If it is, just hit the refresh and it should fix it. Like I said, you can find some examples. You're not going to convince me that a wide receiver is one of the more important positions on a football team. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. Chris, do you think DeGrom is a lot better than Garrett Cole or a little bit better than him? Little bit, but he's better. Little bit, but he's better. Marvin Harrison is a good example. That's a good one. I think he went to Syracuse, first-round pick. Like you said in your post, Peyton Manning probably had a lot to do with it. But yeah, Marvin Harrison's one of my favorite wide receivers of all time. and he won a Super Bowl. So, yeah. The Steelers paid Brown big money, and then they got rid of him that same year. And I just rattled off all their other top receivers. They didn't. Santonio Holmes, Plaxico Burress. Yeah, so. Chris, the guys who tell you they would take a receiver with a high first-round pick are fantasy players, not real football guys like you. Listen, I definitely see the importance of a wide receiver, and Jones is going to need one. I don't personally. Everybody's got their own opinions. That's what sports are about. I don't personally see the value in taking one in the top 10 picks. Even this year, look at all the great receivers this year. The Cowboys got the best one with the 17th pick, CeeDee Lamb. A lot of people said he was the best receiver in the draft. And I appreciate that, Jersey Light, man. Thank you for being here. What do you think of Washington's new? They don't have a name. They got a football team. And another perfect example. I don't know if Scott Pizzle's here. I know he's a huge Darius Slayton guy. Pizzle, you're a huge Slayton guy. What round did we get Darius Slayton? We got him in the 5th round. You could find value at that position in the draft. Yeah, She Got Sports, it makes no sense. Makes no sense. Chris Paul. They're a rebuilding team. Afghanistan have a great one, man. I say trenches are the most important. They will make the entire offense or defense, but trenches are definitely the most important. Offensive line and a pass rush, I think, are the most important. Juju will be a free agent at the end of the year as well. Yes, he will. There's definitely wide receivers that deserve to be high picks. I just don't believe. Listen, there's always exceptions, but if I was a GM, I would never take a wide receiver in the top 5 picks, and maybe I'd be a fool for doing that. I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't. Is there no college? Does the big names go back in 2021? No. The big names get paid. I'd be shocked. Some might, but no. What's going on, JCS? Thanks for popping in the stream. You said Jerry Jeudy wrong? Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, it was a coin flip, but it was a coin flip. Neither one went in the top 10 picks. Do I think the Steelers will re-sign Juju? No, I don't. For the same reason that I just told you guys. They don't have a history of paying the wide receiver position. No, I don't. I think he's going to be a free agent. Jets got Mims late 2nd round. They traded that. I think they got him in the 60s. Craig, they're going to have to. Yes, they're going to have to. I think here's the thing. Once you draft a player like that, you're committed to him. And I love Saquon Barkley. He's my favorite player on the team. Just like a wide receiver would be probably if we drafted one. He was great. But, yes, they're going to have to. They're going to have to pay Saquon Barkley 10% of the cap. He's too talented of a player. He's too important to the team. He's the leader of the football team. They're building the offense around him. I think there's exceptions to the rule. But as a general rule, I would try to avoid paying players at those positions that type of price. But Barkley's a leader of this team. He's a captain. He's the guy you're building the team around. He's an example both on and off the field. Like I said, there's exceptions to the rule at both the receiver and running back position. But as a general rule, like if I had an outline of how I'd want to orchestrate my cap space for a football team, I would not want to put the majority of it at the skill positions. I'd want to put it on the line, the pass rusher, the quarterback, the cornerback. But there are exceptions. Saquon Barkley's one of those exceptions. Let's see what we got here. Chris, any idea if Smith Haskins will be open camp or is Haskins one? I think Haskins is going to be the one. If salary cap goes up, you could pay him more than 10%. Well, 10% is $20 million a year. I don't think he's going to get more than that. I think McCaffrey got 16 and a half, 17. The cap may go down. If anything, it'll be frozen. I expect him to make about what McCaffrey did, maybe a little bit more if the cap stays the same and he stays healthy this year and plays well. I think he'll get 8.5%, 9%, maybe 10%. I don't think he exceeds that. But they're going to have to pay him. They're going to have to pay him. Yes, I'm going to do the Mets game tonight. What's up, Xavier McKinney? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. Yo, Chris, from a Chris to another. What's up, Chris, man? Thanks for being here, my man. Thank you to everybody for being here. Like I said, I'm going to go to 3:15. I'll do 2 hours. I appreciate all you guys. Jake says, it's really the same as with a quarterback. You pay the elite guys elite money. Yeah, you pay the elite guys elite money. Exactly. And the trap that a lot of teams fall into, I don't want to just make this a wide receiver discussion. But it just so happens that the quarterback position, is the most important, but teams fall into that same trap. They pay quarterbacks way too much money because they're so desperate for a franchise quarterback. But when you pay a non-elite quarterback, elite quarterback money, your team suffers because of it. And I expect teams like the Titans to suffer. I just do. I don't expect them. I think if you're going to pay a quarterback that type of money, they better be a top 5, 6, 7 quarterback. So, yeah, it's a problem at all the positions. But you have to – there's certain players at certain positions that you have no choice but to pay them. Odell Beckham, they had to pay. It just so happens that they felt, he was not the best example in the New York Giants locker room and everything else, but he was too talented of a player not to pay. Grim, man, thanks so much for love. I appreciate it. Comp you as DJ Ceiling. I've heard Matt Ryan. Yeah, I've heard Matt Ryan a lot too. I see that a little bit. I think he's a little more athletic than Ryan. Ryan probably has a little bit stronger of an arm, but I think that's a pretty decent comparison for a ceiling. Romo's a guy that I've said, but Romo had really good pocket awareness. That's something that Jones will have to improve, but he's kind of mobile like Romo. Romo was kind of a scrambling type quarterback. He was able to make plays with his legs. I see that comparison a bit too. I've heard Tannehill. I think Tannehill's a fair comparison. He's a very good athlete, so I could kind of get that comparison as well. I hope he's better than Tannehill, but those are some of the players that I've seen. Alex Smith's another one. I think Jones has a better arm than Smith in terms of strength. Smith's very accurate. He's mobile, smart quarterback. I think that's a pretty good comparison as well. Yeah, those are some of the guys that I'd compare Jones to. Alex Smith's a very underrated quarterback in terms of athleticism. Tana, I'm scared. I don't know how the hell we're going to pay Bakatari, Kenny Clark, Tegan. Listen, I think every NFL team's scared. It's not just you. The good news for you is by that point, you're not going to be paying Aaron Rodgers probably. You're going to have Love still on his rookie deal, so that's how you'll pay for those players. But, yeah, I don't know when they become free agents. But, yeah, you have to keep Bakatari. What's my email? It's in all my videos, I think. But I'll type it in there for you if you want it. Hold on. Let me type it in for you. That's my email. Alex Smith got ruined by poor coaching. Horrible coaching his first few years in the league. Matt Ryan was great. Now, of course, Matt Ryan got paired up with a great, offensive mind as a head coach. But yeah, Matt Ryan was great that year. He won the MVP. I'd sign up for a Matt Ryan-like quarterback right now if you tell me Daniel Jones turns into Matt Ryan. If you support him with the right offensive line and defense, you'll win games. You'll win Super Bowls, hopefully. Let's see what we got here. Chris, when we going fishing, you got to get the channel up for the boat life. I got... Yeah, maybe eventually. I've brought that up as a possibility with subscribers once things normalize. Going on one of those boats and go fishing as a get-together one time. That'd be fun. I haven't gone fishing in a long time. I shouldn't be muted. What's your prediction? I think 6-10. I think 6-10 is my prediction. I think they could win upwards of 9 if everything broke right. Maybe 10 if everything broke right. But realistically speaking, I think 5, 6, 7 wins in that range. 5-11 to 7-9. I think those are fair expectations for this team with the schedule that they have in the shortened off season. And I hope they surprise me. I hope they win 16 games. But I think 5-7 this year. And then next year, I think you'll start to see this team start to really compete. They'll have a softer schedule next year. It can't be harder. And they'll be more mature. They'll bring in more free agents. The younger players will be getting better. So I think by 2021, you'll start to see this team really compete. And there's my Instagram. I appreciate you for putting that. I appreciate you for putting that, Nona. What's going on, Henny God, man? Thanks. Yeah, I think 7-9 is fair. 6-7 wins. I think that's fair. Like I said, I hope they surprise me, though. I hope they go out there, they win 16. But I'm trying to go in with realistic expectations so I don't set myself up for depression and failure. I hear some people say 3-4 wins. I think that's too low. But they do play a tough schedule, But if they stay healthy, I think 6 wins is fair. 6, 7 wins is fair. They have a talent on this team. It's just a little bit underdeveloped. With Jones going down last season, I worried for durability. Eli's toughness was amazing and undervalued. Listen, that was Eli Manning's most underrated attribute. Eli Manning's 2 most underrated attributes as an NFL quarterback. 1 was that, his toughness. You knew he was going to be out there every Sunday. 2, his handling of the New York media. Not every player could handle New York. Eli Manning handled it beautifully. So, yes, Eli Manning was great in those 2 aspects, and I felt like they were underappreciated and underrated. 10-6, I hope you're right, Danny. Do I think Reese John makes the team? No, I don't. I think he'll be on the practice squad, but I don't think he makes the team. Let's see what we got here. I see the Giants in the playoffs in 2021 and Super Bowl contention in 2023. I could see 2022 Super Bowl contention, but the thing is, we know as Giants fans, if you make the playoffs, you're in Super Bowl contention. If you get in the tournament, anything could happen. So I look at it like if you're in the playoffs, you're a Super Bowl contender. Obviously, you have teams that are better equipped to win than others. The Ravens, the Chiefs, those are your favorites. But if you get in, you could win. But yes, I get what you're saying. By 2022, 2023, that's when you go into the year with expectations. This team can really compete to win a Super Bowl. I think next year's still a little premature for that, but I do think they could be a playoff team. I'm going to be on Fish Channel this week, I think, Gavin. I think I'm going to be on Fish Channel this week. I just so busy with the Met streams and everything else. It keeps me busy. Do you think we have a strong coaching staff? Yes, I do. I don't know about our head coach yet. I love him, everything I've seen so far, but it's too early. I think overall we have a very strong coaching staff. What do you expect the final wide receiver depth chart? Stand up. What's going on, Quinn? Thanks for being here, man. All right, I mean, I think you have your obvious 5. Obviously, Shepard, Tate, and Darius Slayton. I think Cody Core is definitely going to make the team, especially due to special teams. I think Coleman makes the team. That's 5. And then, you know, like I said, 1 or 2 of those undrafted free agents are going to make the team, depending on whether they go with 6 or whether they go with 7. Last year, they went with 6 wide receivers. Maybe they elect to go with 7. If they go with 7, I think 2 of those undrafted free agents makes the team. Benjamin Victor, I got as the favorite right now. But I haven't seen any of these guys on the field. I haven't heard about how they performed on the field. So it's anybody's guess. But I think 1, if not 2 of those undrafted free agents, unless we sign somebody. Maybe we go out there, we sign a veteran wide receiver. But I think there's 5 set in stone, and then it depends if we go with 6 or 7 for the depth chart. And I appreciate you for following me on Instagram, man. Solder's money, what do you do with it? See, this is a tough question for me to answer because I have not gotten a concrete answer on what's the penalty if we spend a ton on the money that's left over. Does it carry over to next year's cap? If it doesn't, I spend the money. There's no reason not to. And I go out there, I try to bring in an edge rusher, or I try to bring in a cornerback. I try to do something like that. And obviously the big names out there are Clowney and Logan Ryan. Those are the guys you're looking at. If you're looking to spend that money, we'll see if the Giants do it. From everything you're hearing and reading, I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to carry it over. We'll see. If we're going to make a small move like that, I've talked about Carr. He's not going to cost you much. He's a veteran corner. He's got experience with our DB coach. I could see that. I don't know. We'll see. But big name, I'm looking at Logan Ryan probably. We definitely need some help in the secondary right now with what's going on with DeAndre Baker. Solder's gone after this year. Solder's gone. He's not going to be back. What's going on, Zig, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. Should Darnay Holmes be in the slot cornerback? Yeah, I think he's going to be. I expect him to be, if not to start the year, definitely before the middle of the season. I think he's going to be your starting slot corner. I really do believe that. I think he's one of the guys I'm most excited about this year. Nicholas. But we're going to close this out, guys. It's 3:13. We've been live for 2 hours. Want to give you guys a little extra time. I haven't been live to talk about the Giants. And like I said, maybe there'll be something that pops up that I make a video on, but there wasn't anything that I was like, I got to make a video about that today. It's all older topics. It's things that I've kind of talked about. It's kind of recycled news. So I was like, I'll just go live. We'll talk about the Giants. We'll talk about what came out today. And like I said, I'm going to try to do this once a week for you guys, if not twice. Right now, probably once until it starts to pick up with the training camp and everything else as we get closer to the season. And, I'm just trying to, hang out with you guys, talk football, because I know I'm doing a lot of the baseball streams, but I still want to keep up my Giants content. So I appreciate all you guys for being here. I appreciate all the love, all the support. Thank you guys for being the best supporters on YouTube. Friday, I think it's on my channel. Friday, I'm going to be live for Talking Giants. We haven't done that in a few weeks. Bad Dog will be on. We'll talk about some of the recent happenings with the Giants, but nothing major yet. I don't think they really get into the pads till about mid-August. That's when we'll start to really get reports and really hear how the team's doing. But, I appreciate all you guys for being here. Thank you guys for all the love, all the support. Love all you guys. Thank you guys for being here. And we'll talk soon. Hopefully some of you guys come by for the baseball stream tonight. You guys have a great rest of your day. Have a good one, guys.